Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes so sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade. Sipping motions of lemonade. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. Is a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Stack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Machegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proceed, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Good morning. Good morning, my friends. Happy Monday. It's just another Manic Monday. Today is Monday, March 10th, 2025. And good morning. How was your weekend, everyone? Yeah, the time change is a killer, right? It's a killer. I I thought the Turk hearing was today. And so I scheduled that show for 1:45 because I thought it was today at 2. It's tomorrow at 2. So already I'm starting off the day like, I guess I could just gain a day, really, if you think of it that way. And so I just moved that to 2 o'clock or to 1:45 tomorrow for those of you who might have been interested in watching that with me. Crazy. I thought we would hang out today because I'm expecting a lot of new documents to drop. And I think there's one or two things from last week that we did not go over in the Karen Reed case. So we do need to do that, and we can hang out and chat, and we can talk about the weather. That's a 10,000 Maniacs song. Do you remember that? Talk about the weather. Oh, that reminds me that, what is going on here? There are new songs that have been added to the playlist per your request, and you will find the playlist in the show notes below. I use Spotify. I'm a Spotify girl, so it's on Spotify. If you don't have a Spotify account, maybe you use Apple Music or something, you can, like, I guess, cut and paste it. Ground hardness, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. Is Twitter down? What are you guys going to do? I don't know. I'm not... We had some wildfires here on Long Island. Thank you so much for all of you that reached out to me. It was out east in the Hamptons, around West Hampton area. 90 fire departments responded. Our first responders here are amazing. And the majority of them are volunteer. Most of our fire departments on Long Island are volunteer. And I did get my hoodie, look. Well, these run super big, by the way. This is enormous, but there it is. And everything in the merch shop right now is 15% off, I think, for 2 more days, for today and tomorrow. That is also linked below in the show notes. And I put a new one up that has, it has free Karen Reed on the front, and then it's got this, I went to Cancun with Melanie Little, on the back. So check that out. And here we are again in the Shakespearean tragedy that has become the Karen Reed case. But before we do that, I just want to show you what was going on here. And, it's crazy because I don't know, doing something. I'm always prepping. I feel like I'm always prepping. I'm always researching. I'm always doing stuff to get ready for shows. So I appreciate the extra 15 minutes you gave me this morning because Did you ever wake up and like you're dead asleep and you like have no idea where you are or what day it is? That kind of happened to me this morning, and I was already so far behind. And so thank you for your indulgence this morning. I just wanted to see if I could show you some pictures of the fires before we get started, and if there's anything you want to watch. Oh, Sergio Denaro, my friend from the YouTubes, did a show on Karen Reed yesterday. Did anybody watch that? I think he's a former, not current, maybe CIA interrogator. And so he analyzes language and he analyzes people's statements to see if they're being deceptive or telling the truth. You guys saw it? He was good, right? And I had that on last night as I was falling asleep. So, where are the tornado warnings, Kelly? In Florida? 3 are Kelly says currently under tornado warnings, 3 near me, 1 hit the news station. Florida weather is crazy today. That is crazy. But I was doing something. I was prepping for a show and I got a notification because I get notifications on my phone when you guys make comments. And somebody said, I hope you're safe with the fires on Long Island. And I what fires? What are you talking about? And I put on News 12 and sure enough, there it was. And I didn't even know these fires were happening. So thanks to one of you for bringing that to my attention. Luckily, I'm about maybe an hour, 45 minutes to an hour away from where the fires were happening. And so not affected directly, but our first responders here are amazing. So let's just take a look at that for a second while I just gather my thoughts. These are just some viewer photos that they have up on News 12, but it was wild. It was out in West Hampton. I think they said, I don't know, Scott, if you're here, I think they said it started in Santa Marichas, and then at one point it jumped across the highway. And the pine barrens are out there, so there's a lot of pine barrens. A lot of wildlife was displaced. Luckily, I do not think that there were any fatalities, but some of the pictures are wild from Instagram. People put up videos, and it was near Gabreski Airport, which is a private airport. A lot of the rich folks from the Hamptons fly their private jets into Gabreski. And so that was kind of crazy. So that was kind of crazy this morning. Yes, Sherry, you know me so well. I had this vision of you running around with a hairdryer in one hand, coffee cup, and the other yelling at the kids to get ready for your show. No, close. No yelling at the kids part because nobody's here. So. But it was me and a Dyson and and makeup. And as you can see, I really didn't get to it. But since we are in a Shakespearean tragedy, I thought I would start off with a Shakespearean quote for you all today to ponder. And it is something that I try and live by. And I would recommend that you also maybe work into your repertoire of life. And that is, discretion is the better part of valor. I'm going to leave it there. Hey, Tara, thanks for giving a new member. Maureen became a new member. Suzanne became a new member. I love you guys. Think you're going to like it here. Pose Raven became a new member. On top for being on top of the super sticker. Holly Johnson is here, says, good morning. Thank you for defending closed captions. I have a profound loss of hearing and I appreciate it so much. Oh, good. Good. Here's the thing. Holly, I'm so glad I can accommodate. And I watch television with closed captions. And I watch everything with closed captions. And my kids do it now too, because first of all, sometimes you don't want to turn the TV up too loud and you want to be able to just see it in case. But I've noticed also actors nowadays mumble a lot. They're mumbling all the time. I can't understand what anybody's saying. And so I love closed captions. I'm a big fan. And also we've gotten some funny things from the closed captions. Motions and Lemonade is something we got from closed captions. So, Misty and Eddie, we got that from the closed captions. So I'm glad you appreciate it. Kelly, I'm sorry about those tornado warnings. Thank you for the super chat. Susan's here, says Sergio who? I'd love to listen to his pod. How do you not know about Sergio? Really? All right, let me look it up because I forget the name of it right now. I cleared my cookies because somebody told me to do that. And then what had happened was now I got to sign into everything again. It's like a whole thing. Okay, the name of his podcast, Revealed, Truth Revealed. Suze, I think you know about that, don't you? Truth Revealed. Oh, Kelly, you're in Orlando and that's where the tornadoes are. I'm so sorry. Stay safe, girl. Stay safe. Thank you, JC, for gifting 5 memberships. I love you. Also, to so many of you, like Jamie, who sent me some really nice emails this weekend. I love it when people send me really nice, uplifting emails. Thank you so much. To the viewer who sent me a very, very long email about their personal situation and whether I could help with that. I just, I don't practice in Massachusetts. I do not give out legal advice on this channel. And while I sympathize with your position and the things that are going on in your life, I just, I can't give out legal advice on this channel, and I cannot respond to all of your emails, especially the ones that are very, 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 very long. And I cannot opine and give you advice on your personal legal situations. But what I can say is, if you are in need of an attorney in your area and you cannot find one or you don't know where to start, you can call the bar association, your local bar association, and sometimes they have a list of attorneys that they can recommend you to. And so there's that. No, I didn't do anything with my hair. I just got out of the shower and just put a blow dryer to it. And you know what? It's a good brush. You got to have a good round brush. T3 makes a great round brush. So I will, I will recommend that. I don't know. Did he change opinions? I didn't think he changed opinions. I thought he said that Karen Reed was being, he said she was being not truthful when she said she did not think that there was a conspiracy of 40 people, meaning she really did think that there were a lot of people that were conspiring. So I didn't get it that way. Yes, and before we get so engrossed in the show, please hit the like button. It helps. It helps the algorithm. Discretion is the better part of valor, my friends. This is not a game. This is not a party. This is not a joke. This is a real thing with a real consequences, and a woman who is facing 20 years in prison. And, I think a lot of us take it very personally, especially those of us that have been covering this case for a long time. And we get very emotionally involved in it. And we get very personally upset by it, even though we don't have any personal ties to anyone involved in the case. And, I did, my part is inverted today. Sometimes you just got to go with the cowlick, it is a thing. It is a thing. And so when I see misinformation out there, I feel like there's obligation to come on and to correct it and to make sure that everyone is getting the right information. Sergio's got a whole playlist on all of the players in the Karen Reed case, all of the Higgins and everyone, every single person who testified. I think he's got a video on. I don't know about the Good Morning America special. If it is airing, I can't play it. They definitely, absolutely 100% will strike me. They will strike me. So I can't. Yes, thank you, Christy, a painter's daughter, for pointing that out. Yeah, this ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around. I don't know if I'll go to Dedham at all for the trial. I don't know if I will. I don't know if it's really going to happen on April 1st because, first of all, I feel like what I do best is sitting here and going through everything with you and talking to you about it and going over everything with you and explaining it to you and venting with you and giving you a place to vent and screaming at the television together. And I just, I don't know, I have so many thoughts and there's so many things that I don't want to say because you know what? Discretion is the better part of valor. It just is. Yeah, March 17th, ID channel is going to have a new special on. I think it's like 2 or 3 parts. But here's the thing, kindred spirit, good morning. With the new gag order, the attorneys are not allowed to speak about the case. And so I don't know if Alan Jackson or David Yannetti or Hank Brennan were interviewed for that special, but if they were, those pieces are going to need to be edited out. And so I don't know what's going to happen with that special. It's in the can already. So it's been filmed, and I don't think that they're going to be able to release any portions based on the new gag order that was granted that wasn't even argued in papers. It's mind numbing, Oh, thank you, Mary Murphy says, thank you for showing up and supporting Karen Reed and Turtle Boy. Look, real people, real consequences, real things are at stake here. And I'm going to I'm just going to gag myself. Even though I'm not a subject to the gag order, I'm going to gag myself. What we did go over last week, as you may recall, is the one of the things anyway that we went over was the list of, and I'm pretty sure we did. You can refresh my recollection. But docket number 550 was a supplemental, a paper filed by the government. Oh no, this was filed by Karen Reed's team, actually. Karen Reed's team filed a list of exhibits that they were going to show during the motion to dismiss. And here's what they did show. Did we go over this? And did Brennan file one? I don't think he did. In fact, I don't think any of his response was in writing to this motion to dismiss, was it? All right. Am I losing my mind? Okay, we didn't go over this. All right. Let's take a look at it because I have it redlined, so I thought that we did. But if you give the court a list of exhibits, but you know what? I don't think that okay. All right. Now I'm getting my recollection back. See this, I take the whole weekend off and now I'm like, my brain is so scrambled. Okay. The judge had asked for these things because remember, she was like, oh, what are you talking about? 47 pieces of tail light. What are you talking about? I have no idea. Kind of like when she said in open court, and I remember this vividly, she said something about, who is Brian Higgins? Is he part of this case? And we were like, what are you talking about? What do you mean is Brian Higgins part of this case? They did respond to the motion to dismiss, less redacted fan exam. So we did go over it. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So these are the things. This was filed on, looks like March 7th. This, cool. These are the things that the judge didn't have that she asked for because I don't know, was she at the first trial? Did she forget that she was at the first trial? Does she not remember anything from the first trial? It was mind blowing when she said, what do you mean 47 pieces of tail light? What do you mean? Where is that? And then of course she put more work on the defense to then supplement the record with all of these things and stuff that she didn't have, allegedly, apparently, or could not remember. She was twirling her glasses and wasn't paying attention. Yeah, probably. Probably. Everything distracts me today. I'm like, oh, look, something shiny. All right. So here are all the things and stuff that the judge needed from the defense because apparently she also is losing her mind. And here's what she wanted. Exhibit 1, a corrected version of the interior Sallyport garage, the inverted one. So remember when we were watching this live on television, and of course, we remember when the Commonwealth pulled up that inverted Sallyport video and Yuri Buchanan was testifying on the stand about how that was a fair and accurate representation of the way the Sallyport looked on that day and blah, 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 blah. And then our amazing friend, Craig Bates, man of the tiny desk, who was the entire AV squad for the defense team. And he's amazing. He came on and did a show with me one time, and I hope he comes back for the next trial. And I hope we get to see him again because we love him. And we felt very, very sad that he had to sit at that very little tiny TV table because the judge would not let him sit at the defense table. And so he's a very tall man and he was sitting at this little tiny TV tray table, like in the 70s when TV dinners were first invented. And we had the set of 4 TV tray tables that we would pick up and put in front of the TV and eat our TV dinners that came in like a tinfoil thing, and they took like 45 minutes to cook in the real oven, and they always had that little apple pie section, and fried chicken. Remember those Swanson fried dinners? Anyway, I digress. Craig is the one who turned it around and made the video look like it was in its correct orientation. And so the judge wanted a copy of that because apparently she didn't remember. Now, all of this are supplements, exhibits to the motion to dismiss, which of course we do not have a decision on yet. But I'm hoping that some things are going to come in at least while we're on the stream so that we can talk about them. Hopefully they will end up in my inbox when they do. Did you love Swanson dinners? Exhibit number 1 is a corrected version of the inverted interior Sallyport garage video, accurately reflecting the right rear tail light as being the right rear tail light. No, I'm not hating on that TV dinner. I thought it was great. That was before microwaves were even invented. So, you know, if your mother didn't cook, you had to have something to eat. I didn't put you in timeout on Friday. What are you talking about? I didn't put you in timeout on Friday. I think Friday, I don't remember what happened on Friday. Unless these Google search not. Thank you for your 5 for reminding me. I don't think I put you in timeout. I think we just ran out of time. Counsel specifically directs the court's attention to 115 to 149, during which time Trooper Proctor approaches and has unfettered access to the right rear taillight of Ms. Reed's SUV. Surveillance footage also shows an unidentified individual apparate and then disappear from the frame near the right rear taillight. If your chat is frozen, just refresh your browser. Happens a lot when I'm on my phone in YouTube. Sometimes you have to go out and then come back in, but it happens. It's almost like the judge wasn't there, like she doesn't remember this. But no, it's excellent that they get to submit these extra exhibits because maybe she'll actually take a look at them. Maybe they'll actually make sense to her. The ghosts appearing in and out of the taillights. So many of you on Twitter, my armchair detectives, my amazing tech friends, did comparison videos. Video Jesus has some great stuff out there showing that the Chiron on one of the videos is yellow, on the other one it's blue, on one of them it's at the top of the screen, on the other one it's at the bottom of the screen. We looked at some court documents from a case from 2015 where it seems that Colleen Crawford and Trooper Fanning have been perhaps editing and altering video surveillance footage in cases for years. That was in the murder trial of, what's his first name? Fahey. Keith Boudreau was the person who he punched out and then stomped on his head at the sports bar in Quincy. And then the owner of the bar helped drag the body out to the back alley. And then it was found out during the civil suit anyway, because those are the documents that we could access, that Colleen Crawford and Trooper Fanning went to the bar and took their entire surveillance system hard drive out of there. Paul Fahey, thank you. Thank you. And the allegations of Paul Fahey, who is still, I believe, in prison, were that the video had been altered by the sure hands of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. So my inkling, intuition, gut, that this has been going on for a very long time and that this goes so much deeper than the Karen Reed case, may be on point. Crawling Cropper. So you remember, there were ghosts going in and out of this video, time skips, jumps. It's like an old vinyl record with a lot of scratches on it. So if you didn't watch that show, go back and watch that show. I have time-stamped everything for you so you can find that pretty quickly with regard to this civil suit. Exhibit number 2 is the photograph of the condition of the right rear taillight of Miss Reed's SUV in the Canton Sallyport garage on February 1st of 2022, after Trooper Proctor and others at the Canton Police Department had access to the vehicle. Taillight appears fully damaged, not cracked. The judge also didn't seem to remember that. Exhibit 3 is a photograph of the reconstruction of the taillight with pieces of plastic recovered from 34 Fairview Road Even after the full reconstruction of the taillight, it appears cracked and missing a piece, consistent with Sergeant Barros's testimony regarding his observation of the right rear taillight of the Lexus SUV at Ms. Reed's parents' house in Dighton on January 29th, 2022, before it was seized by law enforcement. Certain pieces of plastic missing from the taillight were never located or recovered from 34 Fairview Road. And remember, also in the hearing, it was brought out allegedly, and we don't even know if this is really true, because we know that Hank Brennan gets up and just starts spewing shit that's not even true. Nothing's on papers, nothing's in writing. But what he did say was that allegedly, according to the recordings, the unredacted recordings that he was able to obtain from Gretchen Voss's interview with Boston Magazine, he said that Karen said that around 5:45 in the morning, she was showing her taillight to Kerry and Jen and said, "Look what I just did to my taillight. I'm afraid there's going to be an electric short or something, because you can see the bulb," and that she took a couple of little pieces of taillight and dropped them on the driveway. I know that he likes to get up there and just spew stuff that the media is going to pick up for sound bites. But number one, he didn't play the recording, so we really don't know if it's true. And he asked to be able to play some of the recording at the hearing. If you remember, he moved to unseal that court order, sealing it so that he could play some of it at the hearing, which he didn't do. And then Alan Jackson got up and addressed it as well. But we didn't see any video of that from the ring cam. So is that also missing? I don't know. We did hear Jen testify that when they drove back to One Meadows and she was driving Karen's car and Kerry was following behind them, Jen says that when they got out of the car, they ran around. Karen brought them to the back of the car to look at the taillight. And then they played the video. And that is absolutely exactly what did not happen. It shows them all getting out of the car and running into the house. And that is when apparently Karen didn't take her shoes off before she went into the house, and therefore she must be guilty. That was like Lally's big moment during the closing, that he thought he had figured the whole thing out. Karen didn't take her shoes off, and she knew that John wanted everyone to always take their shoes off. And so therefore she absolutely killed him, because she knew he wasn't coming back. So she didn't have to take off her shoes. It was insane. It was insane. It was the shoes for me. I mean, that must have been what hung that jury. But it didn't happen. And then I believe we also did see a video of them coming out of the house, right, and getting back into their cars. And I didn't see any video of them looking at the taillight. So I don't know where this is coming from, or if that video has just disappeared itself. Right? But again, she said little tiny pieces. And she said that they were all red. That is what, I think that's what Brennan said, or that's what Alan Jackson corrected it to say. You guys can help me with this if you want. Refresh my recollection, because my recollection is exhausted. She said she dropped him in John's driveway. According to Brennan, there were no pieces found in the driveway. I don't know. Wouldn't it be great if Karen had those pieces still in her purse and they were the missing pieces? Because here's what had happened. Exhibit 4 is photographs of the 47 pieces of taillight lens material recovered from 34 Fairview Road. Item 7-5:3, Colin has entered the chat. For those of you who know that attorney Robert Cosgrove, who is the special prosecutor in Aidan Carney's case, misnamed or has renamed Colin Albert. And he said that at least, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 times during the Aidan Carney hearing that we watched last week. Hold on. He's now Colin Albert. Item number 7-6:2 is 2 pieces. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Okay, let's start again. Item 7-5 is 3 pieces of taillight, all red. Item 7-6 is 2 pieces of taillight, all clear. Item 7-8 is 12 pieces, 3 red, 6 clear, 3 black. Item 7-10 is 1 piece of red taillight. Item 7-11 is 6 pieces, 2 red, 3 clear, 1 black. Item 7-12 is 5 pieces, all clear. And then it says this bag also contains glass pieces. So at some point, the glass and no, Michael Marcy's new statement. Can you email it to me? He can't, he's not supposed to be talking to the press. He can't issue any new statements. Thank you, Teresa. But if anybody has it, email it to me or tell me where to find it. He's not supposed to be talking. So I don't know, Teresa, thank you for your super chat. If it's new. So at some point, the taillight pieces were mixed in with the glass pieces. We don't know what glass that is because the glass on the bumper did not match the cocktail glass that was found on the grass with the snowblower. So mystery glass, I guess. Item 7-13 is 3 pieces, 2 red and 1 black. Item 7-15 is 8 pieces, 5 red, 3 clear. And item 7-16 is 7 pieces, 4 red and 3 clear. I didn't add it up, but I think that I'm sure that if Liza Little wrote this, she made sure that, oh, Peter went over the hostage video. Oh, okay, Teresa, you're confused. That's old. That's from August of 2023. But Peter Tragos had never seen that video before. So if you guys want to go watch that later, I haven't had a chance to watch it. I don't know what his opinion is. But that's an old video. That was the hostage video. That was released in August of 2023. And yeah, okay. Let's so it's old. We've been over that several times. It's a 5-minute video. It looks like somebody's off camera holding a weapon to his head and he's being forced to read a script about Colin Albert was never in the house. Michael Proctor never went to 34 Fairview on January 29th of 2022. This has to stop. It has to stop. Lawyer, spoiler, he was not impressed. Good. I like to see Peter getting outraged because he's usually very calm. He's very measured. He doesn't get outraged like I do. And he really tries so hard to see both sides of it. He really usually does see both sides of it. And so it's kind of exciting to see him get really as outraged as we have been for the past over a year together. But if we could refrain from talking about other creators in the chat, it will give my mods less work because it is always. I am inverted today. I parted my hair on the other side because I have a cowlick. All right. I know I should just shut the chat off because I get too distracted by the chat. All right. 47 pieces. Here they are. What's also interesting about these 47 pieces is that when the taillight was reconstructed, the people who found the pieces of taillight, the law enforcement who found the pieces of taillight, all found pieces within the same section of taillight, which is virtually impossible. It's as if each person was given a giant piece of taillight and told to smash it up and then recover different pieces at different times. That would be virtually impossible. But also there's no log of when those pieces were found, who found them, where they were found, no photos. I think maybe there's one photo of somebody who drove by. Don't talk about other creators. It's all about me. No, that's not what it's about, Hunter. But welcome. Oh my God, are you looking for attention already this early? What it does is it distracts people from listening and then they go off and they, all right, we're out of here. You're out of here. Block Island is so lovely. So lovely. The trolls get in somehow. They do. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because they have to ruin it for the whole class. No, I forget where I was. There's no logs, there's no chain of custody, but apparently they are now inventing the logs and the chain of custody logs because, even though they said in their papers, we cannot create something that does not exist. And the judge said, Ms. Little, do you expect them to create something that does not exist and just invent it? And now they actually are inventing it. They actually are inventing it. They have a retired detective who's never been mentioned in this case ever once, DGM Pietro, who's retired from Canton PD, who is now manufacturing logs and chains of custody. He also retired something like 2 days after they turned over the last video dump in October of 2024. That's interesting. And also, if he's Canton PD and they were conflicted off the case, what was he doing with all of the video anyway? That he apparently had to download in 6-hour blocks onto, what did they call it? An overflow hard drive? First, it was an iCloud account of a retired detective. Then it was a detective file. Then it was a hard drive. And now it's what? Except Brennan and his co-counsel, Lally, never knew this stuff existed, but Michael Proctor knew it existed from like the very, very beginning of this case because he knew to download it or have it downloaded. It is too early in the morning for hateful trolls. I dig. Thanks, Uncivil, for liking my hair. Appreciate it. I was really late today, so. Proctor's trial is today. Oh, is today the day 3 of his hearing? I don't know why I don't have it in my calendar, but we can't see it. It's not televised, but if you get any new information on that, they're not going to release any information. They're not going to do anything with him until this trial's over. I can pretty much guarantee that. They won't. I don't think. But really, day 3 of MSP trial board hearings? I don't know. The 13th? What's today? Today's the 10th. The 10th. It's the 10th. Exhibit 5, screenshots establishing that the Commonwealth's Exhibit 2, which purports to show that the interior Sally Port back wall camera was also inverted on January 1st of 2022, and which was played at the direction of Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan in court yesterday, March 5th, 2025, has a different colored chyron than the 12922 inverted video produced to the defense on April 4th of 2024 from the same camera. So while they have been screaming from the rooftops that this system, this ExactVision system, overwrites itself every 30 days, and that's why none of this video existed. Now, all of a sudden, magically, because it's the magical mystery, Sally Port, they came up with video from January 1st of 2022 showing that that camera just always inverts itself and then it has a different color chyron. Somebody also pointed out, and I can't remember who, on Twitter, that on the laptop that they used to show these exhibits, which was, I think, the prosecutor's laptop, or maybe it was Colleen Crawford's laptop, who knows? There were icons on that laptop, one of which is a program to alter timestamps and chyrons. So there's that. And while we were watching it, we saw that AI thing pop up and we stopped it and we rewound it and it said, would you like to alter your video with AI? And there were also 2 other Photoshop applications on that laptop. I think Premiere Pro was on there and Photoshop or something, right? For those of you who don't know what a chyron is, it's like the writing on the bottom of the screen. Different colors, different locations. One is at the top of the screen, one's at the bottom of the screen. So now that we know that, can we really trust any of the timestamps on these videos? Because if there's an application on that laptop to alter timestamps, what does that mean to you? I think it was Video Jesus. Yeah, I think so. I'll give her credit for it. Her name's Abby. How can we trust any of the timestamps on any of those videos without the metadata Oh, that's right. The answer is we can't. We can't. Have they been getting away with this for so long with other defendants who did not have as stellar a defense team as Karen does? And therefore, they thought it was just going to be easy, pin it on the girl. The girl's going to take a plea. No big whoop. No biggie. Nobody's going to get caught. We'll just do what we always do. How many people, how many defendants are sitting in jail right now in prison because of timestamps on video that was handled by these people? Trust us, bro. He then goes on to say, this discrepancy suggests manipulation and further underscores the prejudice to Ms. Reed by the Commonwealth's destruction of the original files and metadata associated with the download of the video surveillance footage from Canton PD. XOXO, Elizabeth Little, Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, and Robert Alessi. Somebody pointed out that since Mark Betterow has not been allowed to join the defense team because apparently the judge makes up the law and is able to decide which attorneys have ethical conflicts, even though clients have waved off on it. And I would argue it's the client's conflict to waive that instead of spelling dream, the team now spells Reed. R for Robert, E for Elizabeth, A for Alan, and D for David. So there's that. Hopefully these exhibits will assist the judge in refreshing her recollection, because her recollection may also be exhausted. It appears that it is. Let's go to the chat for a minute before we move on to the motion to correct the record, which is another one that we did not get to watch yesterday. Good morning, Nina. Did we go over the Commonwealth's reply? Why the timestamp on the Sallyport videos changed colors and position? I don't know. So much going on. Did they explain that? Did they explain that in a filing? Because I don't think that we did go over that. I will check. If you know the docket number or you have it, can you email it to me? fanbase@mlittlelaw.com. I'm waiting for the new droppings today. But thank you, Nina, because I don't think that we did see a reply from them. A lot of things he doesn't put in papers, Brennan. He just gets up and argues it and the judge allows it, which is wild. You know, where I come from in New York, you got to put your things in papers. You can't just get up and all of a sudden start arguing something new because the judge will say, I'm sorry, is that in your papers, Ms. Little? And if they're not in your papers, the judge is not going to consider it. But we're in the land of the lost. That's a new name for this. We're in the land of the lost here. All right. Sarah Boone's left kidney is saying misinformation. Sorry, but that's not what that icon was. It's actually a program called Fast Stone Image Viewer. You can Google it and see it's the same logo. Well, I don't have time to Google it right now, and I don't know exactly what program that you're talking about. I am talking about a specific program for chyrons. There may have been other programs on that as well, but I can't go back and find that comment right now. Mary Murphy, thank you for showing up and supporting Karen Reed and Turboy. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. KY, Kentucky Heather, good morning. Do you think they will file a motion to accuse Auntie Bev again for appeal purposes? I mean, she already hates the defense. I hope that they do. They did one during the first trial, which we went over at length. We recently went over that order where she did not recuse herself. There may be additional reasons for her to recuse herself now because so much more has been brought out. But let's ask the magic 8-ball. Will the defense file a motion to recuse Auntie Bev again? I got to get the flashlight. Because really, it says cannot predict now. So even the magic 8-ball doesn't know. I don't have any insight into what the defense is doing. I do not, I do not help the defense in any way. I do not have a privy to their conversations. And even if I did, I certainly would not talk about them, but I don't. Letter Rose by Better is a freaking OG and loves me. Thank you so very much. And that reminds me also that there's been a lot of speculation online and in my comments that, oh, great, now Mark Betterow can come back and talk about the case with you. And no, he's not going to. You will not be finding him out here on the streets of YouTube, the dirty streets of YouTube. He's not, he can't, he won't, for many, many, many reasons. But that just reminded me to let you guys know that, because don't hold your breath on that one. KLM says, good morning, Karen. I'm not good. I was Karen here. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey. Thanks for the 10. I appreciate you. Emma is here from Ireland. Sláinte, my girl. Our favorite holiday is coming up soon. What was it, a week from today? I love St. Patrick's Day. It's my favorite holiday. We used to go when I was a kid. We used to go when we were in high school, we used to take the train in, skip school, and go to the parade. It's like a big giant drunk fest. It was a fun thing to do. I would never go now, but when I was a kid or a teenager, it was fun. PSA for Ireland and UK folks on Quest Red. April 20th, 2025, documentary, A Body in the Snow, the Karen Reid trial. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that's all about. So it's on Quest Red, you guys. Is it on now or it's coming on? Oh, you're saying it's coming on 420. Of course it is. Thanks, Emma. It's the same thing that's going to be on here, right? Isn't that the name of it? A Body in the Snow? Alessi's Google search not. Yeah, I don't think, did I put you in timeout? I don't think so. I think I was exhausted and I had to go. Holly Johnson says, yes, it's been difficult to stomach. All the negative rulings and Spanky's lies start to become too much. Karen Reid is facing real time behind bars. Where is the humanity in the Commonwealth? Well, I know that's a rhetorical question. But, a lot of people have written to me. They're like, listen, I have to take a break from this. I can't do this anymore. I take this too personally. A lot of you are on the other side of the world and you're taking it personally because the corruption, you're seeing the corruption firsthand, in close and personal, up close and personal. And it's glaringly obvious to anybody who's got common sense and can see it. And so when it's exposed like that, it becomes real. People say, oh, how could 40 people keep a secret? First of all, I don't think it's 40 people. Second of all, I sued the Catholic Church on behalf of many, many victims and survivors of clergy SA here on Long Island when that scandal broke. And it broke in Boston, coincidentally, in 2002. There was a movie Spotlight that was made about it. And so when I tell you that the entire Catholic Church kept that a secret for decades. And when we got into the files and they convened a special grand jury in Suffolk County on Long Island, they issued a report that was hundreds of pages long about for how long and how deep that orchestrated plan to keep victims secret lasted. Decades. It can happen. Storm's life. I live in Utah, and there is no way that the taillight pieces would just stay in front of the house if the streets were plowed. Yeah. Okay, that's not a new statement, so I'm taking that down. Thank you, Teresa. I see you. Aussie and Boozy Beauty just had some interesting work on the Sally Port and tow truck with her car, crop pictures with new timestamps, added and shown by Brennan. I don't know if they did one thing together, if there's two different things. Thank you for that. Thank you for the super chat. LOL, no tampering. XOXO, Helena Rafferty. Thanks, Clerk Jim Clown. Free Karen Reid, Turtle Boy, and all of Massachusetts. Loving my mods and chat. Thank you so much. Fairy Raven says, to the trolls, duck off. And once there, duck off again. Where's the guy who dropped the taillight? I don't know. I think was that Wanless? Is that who we're talking about? Remember somebody testified that when they took the taillight housing out, like it broke into a bunch of pieces. Julie, wait till we find out Marcy is actually Breenin in a fast food. Thanks, Julie. Thanks so much for becoming a new member. Good morning to Seattle. I turned over a lot less. We were duped, says. Thank you. Likes my hair parted inverted. Sometimes you just got to go with where the least gray is and, got to work with the cowlick. Those who know. Christy, a painter's daughter, Monday morning is so fun with you any day. Oh, thank you. Sometimes we just need to get on and have a little group therapy. Try and talk each other off the ledge. Lauren, Boborin, nothing. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for liking my eyes. I appreciate you. Thank you, Tom CPU. Oh, Tom CPU is in the house. Prayers to you and the family. Thank you, Tom. Prayers to you as well. And your sister. TB85, I think that says. So weird how prosecutors normally rely heavily on phone downloads to jail people, yet now the defense claims it's not reliable in the slightest. Yeah. This is another one of the weird things that we are uncovering as we continue in the land of the lost. Thanks, Jennifer. Says I found out we have the same birthday. Oh, that's awesome. My love for you makes more sense. Aquarius rocks. Thanks, Jennifer. Glamasu's Gallagher testified that it broke into pieces when Wanless removed it. Yes. That was not capitalized on by the defense in trial one. And also tell me, since you're here, this guy Wanless, he's not law enforcement, right? Isn't he like a guy who owns like a body shop or something? Yes, we got to capitalize that in trial too. And that's why you guys are the eyes of the world. And you've got great ideas and you're like a mirror jury in a lot of ways. And you see what confused you, and that will help the defense in trial too. And we know that they have a dozen experts coming in, and maybe if the judge allows it, I don't know how many of them are going to be new and how many of them have already been turned over. But I thought that what Brennan said was they just turned over 12 new experts, and they have been on notice of Wolf and Rentschler and Dr. Russell. Does that mean that there's 9 new or 12 new? I'm not sure. Thank you, Suze. Wanless was a Canton cop who owns a body shop who surprisingly retired last year, says Galaxy Girl. Nixon 3191 says, on the idea many people can't keep a secret, I reported a PDF file at the BSA camp I worked at. A lot of people knew and they covered it up just fine. Yeah. Especially when your ass is on the line and you could be looking at catching some felony charges. Or maybe somebody in your family could, Look, if the mafia existed, which, it doesn't, they know how to keep secrets there too. Greg says, talking about the Catholic Church cases reminds me, when you get time, check out Mariano Rivera's case that came out of his church. If you haven't already, really sad. Yeah, I did. I mentioned it on the air one day. I come from a Yankee family. Sorry, Red Sox fans, but, we all love Mariano Rivera, right? The closer. And there's some wild stuff. There's some civil cases coming out of that. He and his wife, I think, were in a church somewhere, and there was a girl who was abused like more than once. And it is really sad. I haven't had time to really dig into that yet, Greg, but when I ever have some time, I will. Hey, Mallory. Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy birthday. Yo, you're pretty. Thank you. The Duckery continues, says, with an $11.34 super chat, $11.34 for the 1,134 days since the injustice of Karen Reed's arrest. Thank you. Thank you. The Duckery continues. It is apropos, and you're amazing. 1,134 days. I don't know how she does it. I don't know. Somebody said Karen was in the chat. Girl, I don't know how you do it. You're like one of the strongest women that I know. Like, you're amazing. And everybody's out here rooting for you. And we know how it is not easy, because it's not easy for us out here just talking about it every day. Imagine living it. I hope you're getting enough sleep. I hope you're taking some time for yourself. Self-care is very important for all of you guys who are in the chat who are getting so personally offended by everything that happens in this case. Self-care is important. Carol, McAllen, Texas priest fight killed Irene. Church hit him. Don't know what that means, but I guess it happened in McAllen, Texas. And that's terrible. It's terrible. Thank you. Sage, I asked my brother, who's a Department of Public Works worker and plows. He said not only would he see a body when plowing, the plow would push taillight pieces 100 plus feet. Not near the body. It would be pushed 100 plus feet. I wonder, did they go down the block and look? Interesting. Thank you, Sage. I appreciate you and your super chat very, very much. Good morning. Good morning, Patricia. The signs of trial should say fair trial for Karen Reed rather than free Karen Reed. I bet the judge would notice how we're all watching her. Thanks, Patricia. Yeah, I will allow you to post new sign ideas in the chat. For those of you who can't get to Dedham, Some new sign ideas might be great. Some new slogans. I love it. Holly Johnson, what about geofencing? They used it in Daybell trial. Doesn't it show everyone in the area like 3 a.m. mystery car parked where John O'Keefe's body was found? Well, here's the thing about the geofencing, Holly. And I think that Microdots has a great video on that. Shout out to Microdots. If you do not subscribe to Microdots on all the social media, you should. They ordered geofencing. Proctor ordered the geofencing. But the thing is, he only ordered it for Google phones, not iPhones. And everyone in the house, I think, had an iPhone. Go figure. Maybe the defense was able to get a hold of the geofencing for this go around. We're very collaborative here. So if you guys want to chime in, if I misstate something because I'm conflating everything, but the geofencing was done, but it was only done for Google phones. And I think did he ever order it for the iPhones? Android specific, Joe says. Yep, it was Android specific. How convenient. Yep. Salem's Lot. Oh, and that's very fitting because that's a nod to Stephen King. And this is like we're living inside of a Stephen King novel. Remember that movie Christine with the car that came alive? Been following this case from the UK since trial. Free Karen Reed, the most corrupt case I've ever seen. Yep. Nope, he didn't order it for the iPhones. We're in a state of confusion. Somebody said Massachusetts is a state of corruption. And, a lot of you say, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Well, the first thing you can do is donate to the defense fund, because I'll tell you, the attorneys have said they are not expecting to be paid. They are not going to go after Karen for the $5 million or so that she's already in debt and continuing. But the defense funds are going to be used for experts, and experts are expensive. How do I know that? Because I've been a civil litigator for over 30 years and I deal with experts. When I was practicing, I'm retired now and hanging out with you guys, but when I was practicing, I would deal with experts several times a week. And they are very, very, very expensive. And that's where the money goes. So what can you do to help? Every dollar counts. Every dollar counts. And, save your super chats. Donate them to the defense fund. Let me just see if I can find it, because then I will pin it in the chat. All of the money that you see there, like right now, it is at $743,325. Her attorneys have come out and said that it is mostly spent. I'm going to pin it to the chat now. I know here in New York, it would cost, when I needed a surgeon to come in, especially a neurosurgeon, somebody who does spinal surgery, for example, can charge up to $15,000 for a day of testimony because they have to cancel all the surgeries that they're doing for that day. Plus the time to write the report. It's very, 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 very expensive. And in my opinion, she's going to need each and every one of these experts, all of them, because the jury didn't seem to get it last time. And so there's no room for error this time. I want to see the fourth acquittal. Since I've had this channel with you guys, we've seen 3 acquittals. I want this to be the 4th. Okay, moving on to the motion to correct the record. Which I now need to find, so give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Do, 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 do. I'm hoping that we don't see a motion to keep the cameras out. I really am. But I have a feeling that that's coming. Will she grant it? I don't know. I don't like it. But I also don't have control over her. And I think she's looking for a reason. First, she moved to the small courtroom at the defense's request, because the first courtroom that they were in, the big one. Well, we have to prepare ourselves for the event that it could happen. The big courtroom, the way the jury box was situated, is such that half the jury would be looking at the back of the witnesses' heads. And the judge said something like, "We've been doing it this way for 100 years." And I think Alan Jackson probably said something like, "I don't care how you've been doing it for 100 years. It's not the right way to do it. The jury should not be looking at the back of witnesses' heads." Yeah, and Tracy says, "I'll bet the buffer zone is also going to be moved." Yep. Yep. Yeah, young black economist. No, I said, she says, Bev is watching Gull like, and then I can't see what your emoji says, but I'm like, yeah, Bev is like talking to Judge Gull like, "Hey, Gull, hold my White Claw. Check this out." It's insane. A lot of parallels. So far, I think Gull is worse, but listen, there's always time to catch up. There's always time to catch up. For those of you who don't know, Judge Gull was the judge in the Delphi, the Richard Allen trial, and still is for all the post-trial stuff, as far as I know. This is the Commonwealth's motion to correct the record, docket number 553. Docket number 553. This was filed last week. See how many misspellings we can find. Now comes Hank Brennan, special prosecutor. Well, it's better than special prosector in the above docketed case, and submits the following affidavits to correct the record relative to the March 5th, 2025 court hearing. This he filed on March 7th. And shockingly, it was actually scanned and docketed on March 7th. We see a lot of stuff that takes days to scan into the record. Here is the 554. This is the affidavit of Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan to correct the record. Well, look, he spelled prosecutor and Brennan right this time. My name is Hank Brennan. I've been appointed special prosecutor assigned as lead counsel for the case of Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Well, that's interesting, because is Lally going to speak at all? Is Lally going to be? I haven't heard Lally say one word in court. Have you? Since Brennan has been hired, has Lally said one word in court? Has he uttered a syllable? I haven't seen it if he did. I know that Ms. McLaughlin has said a couple of things, but only his name. That's it. Good morning, Mr. Lally. Yeah, Adam Lally for the Commonwealth. Adam Lally for the Commonwealth. He's like the guy from Despicable Me, Gru, right? With the hunchback sitting at the prosecution table, which, by the way, is attached to the judge's bench, which is so weird to me. It makes it feel like they are one, which they kind of are here anyway. With the posture, the bad posture. He's dejected. He's been demoted to water boy. And now that he's in hot water, we're calling him hot water boy, not to be confused with a hot water boy. Sharpening the pencils. That's what he's doing. Sharpening the pencils. Kathleen says, as awful as Gull is, her jury instructions were excellent, unlike you know who. Yeah. All right. He says number 2. In oral argument, I provided a number of examples of extrajudicial statements that have been made by defense counsel, as well as examples of in-court statements made relative to the now closed federal investigation. Oh, he's got to get that in there, that it's now closed. Just so that the record is clear, we do not have any official statement, do we, from the federal government that this investigation is now closed? All that we had was a press release from the chief of the Canton Police, Helena Rafferty, saying that it is on the Canton PD letterhead. So I don't know. No, there's no court today. There won't be any court until next week, the 18th and 19th. They are going to be arguing the motions in limine, which are going to drop fast and furious. and the potential impact such statements may have on the potential jury pool. Kind of like your lie that was left unchecked for a week about getting all these smoking gun documents from, or what you allege to be smoking gun documents from the feds instead of the defense. Oh, and the jury notices are already out, so pot meet kettle. 3, one of the examples that I cited to support commentary about the now closed federal investigation was a statement made by Attorney Yannetti. I inadvertently and mistakenly characterized one of his statements as an extrajudicial statement. The statement made by Mr. Yannetti was not an extrajudicial statement. It was a statement made during a Zoom court hearing in the Reed case. Well, we all knew that. We all knew that right away as he kept yelling about it. The statement was aired as part of a segment posted by Court TV entitled Karen Reed's Attorney Talks Federal Investigation with Court TV. The segment included a story regarding the case. Well, the 41-minute and 21-second segment video includes a Court TV anchor's story on the case, witness interviews, and includes some clips from court hearing coverage to include a Zoom court hearing. The quote from Attorney Yannetti was from a statement Mr. Yannetti made during a Zoom court proceeding in the Reed case. I mistakenly said that Attorney Yannetti's statement was an extrajudicial statement. My mistake was unintentional and regrettable. Signed under pains and penalties of perjury, XOXO, Hank Brennan with an S/. So what are you saying here? Are you saying you just looked at the title and you assumed that it was Karen Reed's attorney talking about the federal investigation with Court TV because that's what the title says? Because anybody who's ever been watching me or whoever watches Court TV and looks at their stuff on YouTube knows that they misname things all the time. It's called clickbait. And I really, really wonder if there's somebody like Lally who may be trying to intentionally sandbag him to make him look like an idiot. Because his paralegal also hates him because she spells his name Breenan. She calls him a prosector. And he loves making false statements to the court. He needs a fact checker. That is right. Resisting arrest. He needs to learn to check the facts before he opens his mouth. PMA says, would he have said anything if the defense didn't correct the record? Probably not. Or was it intentional and gaslighting the court? I'm going to take that as a rhetorical question. Aaron says, at least he's finally putting something in writing. Yep. I guess. Hidden Cam in Bev's court says Spanky's a very calculating person. Yeah. That is right. Romo Victoria says, I always think of what assume means. Remember the old Odd Couple episode? And I remember, I think it was Felix who wrote it on the board. You never assume. And then he goes, because you make an ass out of you and me. Yep. It's from the Odd Couple. And he even puts the little Court TV link in there for the judge to look at it. But again, lazy, maybe. What say you? Let's go to the chat. Thank you, Fat, Dumb, and Happy. I love when you guys change your names. I was worried about you yesterday when I saw the brush fire on Long Island. Glad you're okay. Thank you. Thank you, Free Karen Reed. Free Karen Reed. Wilders, honey, I want Lucky, the plow driver, to testify on the thickness of ice. He was honest and sweet. We can trust his opinions. You know what? According to Ronnie, the juror, they disregarded Lucky's testimony. I agree with you. I think that Lucky was one of the absolute most credible witnesses in the case. The jury did not seem to feel that way, according to the eyes and ears in the jury room, who was Ronnie. I agree with you. Spanky's corrected record says, if you were on the defense team, would you show that Dighton cop a picture of the taillight in the Sally Port on cross and ask, did it look like this? It's going to be a game time decision for them. Listen, the defense did not speak to Barrows before the trial. Asking a question like that is and not knowing the answer to it is a smart attorney never asks a question they don't know the answer to. And you run the risk that he's going to say, oh, yeah, that's what it looked like. But again, now that we know, I mean, he said it was only slightly damaged. Do you take that risk? I don't know. I don't. I'm not here to criticize the defense, to second guess the defense. I think that they are making all the right decisions, and I think that they thought that they had enough out of him when he said it was just slightly damaged, not totally shattered, or whatever it was that he said exactly. I don't recall. But sometimes you ask one extra question and it could kill your whole case. I don't know. Have they been able to speak to Barrows since then? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Barrows reached out to them. I mean, they're allowed to speak to him. I don't know. I thought Barrows and Lucky were the two most credible witnesses in that entire trial. But I don't think that the jury figured it out. No, Messy with a Lessie. Thanks for the 20. Is there anyone that can step in and remove Bev for being so biased and unethical? Free Karen Reed, do the best. No. No. They can make another motion to recuse and she could deny it again. And then that could be a post-trial appellate issue in the event that Karen is convicted, which I don't think she will be. There are very, very limited things that you can appeal during a trial. It's called an interlocutory appeal. We looked at the rules, I think, during the last stream. That's not one of them. Thank you for the 20. Bianca, thanks for gifting a membership. Becky got her new merch in Wisconsin. They may think I'm crazy. We're all crazy. If we weren't all crazy, we would go insane. Oh, I gotta add that to the playlist. That's Jimmy Buffett. Changes in latitude, right? Amber Bauer, my sign would say, so bad, even introverts are here. Well done, Amber. Well done. Melanie Little's left swiping StreamYard is here. Don't jinx me. Girl, I'm shopping your merch and would like to request a hat or two, perhaps some Karen Reed Massachusetts merch. Free Karen Reed. The stuff didn't print right on the hats. That's the reason that I didn't put hats up. And I love hats too, as you know, because I wear baseball hats a lot. I need to workshop the design so that it will look right on a hat. But I will take that under advisement. Thank you very much. And you know I love your username because I always swipe myself out of this damn stream because of StreamYard. Thank you so much. Macbeth's Inferno is here. Comedy of Errors. Yep, it's Shakespearean. Thanks for your super sticker. Belv's Albuterol is here. We've learned so much about trials, rules, proper procedure, and definitions of trial terms that cupcakes would make pretty awesome jurors if called upon. Yep. Jury selection, in my opinion, is going to be the most important part of this case. The absolute 100% most important part of this case. And really, to me, it is in every single case. I love jury selection. It's my favorite part. I happen to think that I am very excellent at reading people. I can tell when someone's full of shit. Oh, sorry. I don't mean to curse on this channel. Just because I know you guys listen without your headphones and your kids in the room doesn't mean I don't do it in real life. But it is such an important part of the case because those are the 12 people in which Karen's life is in, you know? So much effort goes into jury selection. It is really the most important part of the trial, in my opinion. Emma says, Andrew Burkhart says, law enforcement are allowed to lie, especially during investigations when talking about the feds being done with this. Yeah, I heard her say that. It's true. They are allowed to lie. Maybe it gives some people a false sense of security and then they slip up. But again, I haven't heard an official statement from the feds, so I don't know whether they're done with their investigation or not. Mike B from the 413 says, crazy thing about that, only Hank and the Commonwealth got a phone call from the feds. Yeah, that's what he says. That's what he says. Nina says, so it's not perjury if it's an argument in open court, only in sworn affidavits or proffers. You mean a lawyer committing perjury? It's not perjury. It's an ethical violation, candor to the court. We looked at that ethical rule the other day because attorneys are not testifying, and so it's not perjury. It could be an ethical violation if you openly lie to the court and you knowingly lie to the court, and that is why candor to the tribunal requires the mens rea of knowingly knowing that what you're saying is false. So thank you, Nina. Blessed Mom from Texas is here and gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Corrected because Bev told him receipts are correct to Amber, right? She said, give me that clip that you're talking about. Exactly. Liz says, I don't understand how Canoni can continue to make rulings, comments, etc. when she admittedly knows this case is watched nationwide. Who is she procting? Well done. I don't know. A lot of people think her bias is showing, including, again, Peter Tragos, who is very, very careful about what he says. And he said it's the most biased judge he's ever seen, I think he said. I don't want to misquote him either. Greg, can they interview Barrows before the next trial to clarify what if he's willing to talk to them? Yeah. If he's willing to talk to them. He may not be. He may just want to not get, involved in this. Listen, he's law enforcement and, snitches get stitches and ditches. I don't know. I don't know how he feels about it. I don't think he's retired. So I don't know. Lead prosecutor says, has anyone seen my grave concerns? I have not seen them today. No, you had them one day, but it's only directed at the defense for some reason, your grave concerns, isn't it? Aren't they? Leslie's Google search not. I thought that the town video guy was honest when he said, I don't know what that is. Yeah, Jutras. Yeah, Jutras. And then when Brennan got up and made representations to the court that, the town, I forget what he called him. He didn't mention him by name, but we knew who he was talking about. Testified, and the defense could have cross-examined him about the Sallyport video. And I was like, okay, well, first of all, he testified before you even turned over any Sallyport video, right? How are we going to cross-examine him about something that we don't know about? But that's true. Lally handed him a CD or something, a disc of some kind, and he said, do you know what that is? Do you recognize that? And he said, no, I have no idea what that is. And I was like, isn't that the video that you pulled that you gave me? And Juju said, no, I didn't. That's not how I gave it to you. I didn't give it to you in that format. And then Lally just kind of like brushed it off and moved on. Thanks for the super chat. AJ's beard. It got my Cancun with Melanie shirt this weekend. Love it. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you like it. Hardcore Barbie is here. Thank you for your super sticker. CLW. Thanks for becoming a member. Piney Woods Law and Crime. Hello. I used to teach a CLE about the 10 commandments of cross-examination based on a great lawyer's famous essay. That's awesome. Defense counsel is killing it, right? They are, in my opinion. They're amazing. And I'm sad that we're not going to get to see Better cross-examine some of these witnesses because that'll be fire. Thank you, Roseanne, for your super sticker. And remember, we're still awaiting the decision on the ARCA experts, and that is the motion during which Hank Brennan got up with his thoughts and started talking about, potential ethical violations by the defense. So is she going to remove Alan Jackson from the case? Is she looking to pull his pro hoc vice status? I don't know. But that is not what the sanctions motion was about the other day. And again, the Mass Court's website is just not cooperating. They have this stupid, I'm not a robot thing. And you click on it and then it just kicks you back. And it's really frustrating. Yeah, it just maybe the internet is broken today. Maybe the Mass Court's website is broken today. Is it working for anybody else? Hank's telltale voice says she's going to include ARCA. That's what I think she'll do, and leave Alan on the defense. I don't know, but I bet, one of these other 12 experts will be another accident reconstructionist just in case. So there's that. I can't even get to the court docket now because it's broken. Hang on. Let us take a look. Let us take a look. At some things that I found interesting while we're waiting. For the documents to drop. Okay. And thank you to all of you. You know, I don't play on the cesspool of Twitter, but I thought that this stuff was important to take a look at. So thank you to Jonathan. Well, this is actually an old tweet. This is an old tweet by Turtle Boy, and a guy named Jonathan Bowen responded to it. So let's take a look at this. Because they've been talking about Fanning's connections to this case since August of 2024. So back on June 25th of 2024, Aiden Carney, aka Turtle Boy, tweeted, this is on June 25th, breaking news, juror number 3 was just brought up to the front to speak with Judge Cannoni. This is by far the most obvious not guilty vote on the jury. She made disgusting facial reactions during Michael Proctor's testimony and mouthed, "What?" while shaking her head during Trooper Paul's testimony. This is the juror that they are talking about jury tampering with. Aiden goes on to say, Juror 3 was also the juror who reported Juror 5 on June 14th, leading to her dismissal. I can now confirm with certainty that Juror 5 said in the presence of the other jurors that she was bothered by Karen Reed smiling and turning around to look at her parents in court. She was reported by jurors 2, 12, and 13, the same 3 jurors who were eliminated from deliberations on the final day. Like, what are the odds of that? What are the odds of that? The day that Juror 5 was dismissed was June 14th. That was the day that Mark Betterow and I were in court. That was also the day Jessica Hyde testified and Trooper Paul testified on direct. And Court TV was told to turn the cameras off in the morning because when they brought apparently Juror 5 in, she was caught on camera. And the judge got really mad and told Court TV to turn off the cameras. And so there was no video for the morning. And then they did a dirty deed of Zoom feed of Jessica Hyde where the camera was pointing up at her chin. Remember that? Mark and I were in the courtroom and people were freaking out because there were no cameras. And then Aiden Carney said, if a video does exist of Juror 3 at a bar, how did John Fanning get it? No one will be able to pick out Juror 3 in public since the jurors' faces weren't shown on TV. The only people who would recognize her are people who were inside the court. You know, like the McAlberts and state police, people who were following her around because they saw her facial reactions and wouldn't want her to be able to acquit Karen. This is all part of the motion to dismiss for egregious governmental misconduct. The jury tampering. John Monagle. And where is this alleged video? In the days after John's death, it was told to the media, Channel 4 in particular, that the police had video of Karen backing up into John, but apparently that video never existed. So many shenanigans involving videos or missing videos here. And here's what happened. Somebody, I mean, how did they explain this in court the other day? Somebody told Fanning, and then Fanning told a court officer, and then the court officer told a judge. It was like a big game of telephone. And then without a hearing, the judge just agreed to dismiss this juror. That is a huge issue on appeal. That appeal could only be brought post-conviction, but that's a huge issue. It may be the biggest issue in this case on appeal would be the jury tampering issue. We saw it in Murdoch. And I don't know if the South Carolina court has heard the Murdaugh appeal yet. I don't think there's been a decision on that, on whether Murdaugh is going to get a new trial based on the fact that court clerk Becky Hill may have been tampering with the jury, talking to the jury, telling the jury that he was going to get up on the stand. Don't believe him. Don't believe him. Don't fall for his nonsense. Then Jonathan Bowen tweeted on August 7th of 2024, the John Fanning connection to the case goes deeper. Before John joined the Massachusetts State Police, he was a member of the Stoughton Police Department. He worked with Matthew Farwell and William Farwell at the Stoughton Police Department. John Fanning investigated the murder of Sandra Birchmore as a newer member of the state police. I noticed that you didn't mention that seemingly insignificant connection in your story, but it seems pertinent. The guy is trying to fix cases all around Norfolk County. This is corruption upon corruption. And you remember, I've done at least 4 shows on the Sandra Birchmore case. We went over all of the court documents, the MSP reports. I don't think I knew at the time that Fanning had been a member of Stoughton PD, but he interviewed Matthew Farwell in a car, like in a parking lot somewhere. And Sandra Birchmore's death was quickly ruled a suicide, even though, turns out, she was pregnant with Matthew Farwell's baby. He was married. His wife was in labor at the same time she died, apparently. Garino missed something like 32,000 text messages on Farwell's phone. This is not the first time cops are covering up for cops. Now there are federal murder charges against Matthew Farwell, who met Sandra Birchmore when she was in the Police Explorers program when she was like 11 or 12 years old. He took her virginity when she was 15, because that was also in the text messages between them, which were all on Sandra Birchmore's laptop that they seized the day they found her. And doesn't it make sense that he used to be a Stoughton cop and that he was probably buddies with Farwell, and the state still has not brought murder charges against Farwell? He says, this is corruption upon corruption. John Fanning has known Yuri Buchanan for many years. They are, according to the Enterprise, both Stoughton natives. Yeah, gross that his wife was in labor, right? The ties of the family tree here are pretty freaking twisted. Am I right? You decide. I mean, it's wild to think that they just dismissed that juror without a hearing, without any actual evidence. And really, who has this? There was video of her in a bar. Who got it? Who followed her around? Who's following the jurors around? And then here, Olivia, our friend Olivia, tweeted on March 5th. And if you don't follow her on Twitter, you should. At Olivia Lambeau. Hank Brennan actually thought it was a good idea to describe Lieutenant John Fanning as one of the most conscientious, dedicated, and admired state police officers in Massachusetts in an attempt to refute the defense's argument that he potentially tampered with a jury. Sandra Birchmore's murder investigation was originally led by Lieutenant Fanning, where he and law enforcement incorrectly ruled it a suicide, quote, overlooking obvious and critical evidence directly implicating a fellow police officer. Sound familiar? Matthew Farwell, who's since been indicted by the feds in Birchmore's murder because these same state police detectives and the Norfolk County DA refused to charge him, let alone follow the evidence. To this date, despite the overwhelming evidence implicating Matthew Farwell in Birchmore's murder, thanks only to the federal investigation, the state police and Norfolk County DA's office have refused to bring forth murder charges, let alone any state-level charges, still maintaining the public disposition that Sandra Birchmore took her own life. This fact makes Brennan's arguments at a prior hearing all the more disingenuous when he said Ms. Birchmore was a victim. Yes, he did. Remember that? It's unclear why Brennan then proceeds to argue that Lieutenant Fanning has been attacked by the public and all over social media as though this has anything to do with the defense or the defense's arguments about jury tampering. Lieutenant John Fanning is a public official with immense power who's deserving of scrutiny for his handling of Sandra Birchmore's murder investigation. Hank Brennan previously used the word parasite in discussion related to the Sandra Birchmore case. You know what's parasitic? Trying to conflate and attribute the independently earned scrutiny and criticism for Lieutenant Fanning's actions and his actions alone on the Sandra Birchmore case to the defense in this case. As though the defense is somehow responsible for his mishandling of a different investigation. Whining about what a good man someone is, interestingly, avoids addressing the information and allegations of jury tampering. And there's a picture of Sandra Birchmore. And yeah, let's watch the video. Thanks,
Olivia, for step one,
this.
Finding a vehicle to plant the seed. And they did that very effectively. The next step is they have to identify a target. Who are their target?
Up a little bit. It's not you. It's the video.
So after step one, finding a vehicle to plant the seed. And they did that very effectively. The next step is they have to identify a target. Who are they going to blame? Who's going to be the villain? In this case, a villain goes from anybody that gets in the way. It could be a soccer.
Are you only allowed to post 1-minute clips on Twitter? All right, so I'm just going to slow it down so we can listen to it again.
So after step one, finding a vehicle to plant the seed, and they did that very effectively. The next step is they have to identify a target. Who are they going to blame? Who's going to be the villain? In this case, a villain goes from anybody that gets in the way. It could be a soccer mom. It could be a police officer. It could be a good Samaritan.
Jim McCabe.
Anybody that crosses
Fanning.
the path is a target. And now they decided they were going to identify Lieutenant Fanning.
Who's the good Samaritan? Who's the good Samaritan that he's referring to?
Lieutenant Fanning is one of the most conscientious, dedicated.
Oh, why are you buffering? Don't buffer. No buffering. Conscientious, dedicated. Go on. Come on with your bad self. Maybe if I put it back to normal speed. The tech gods is it something in retrograde today? X is struggling right now. Oh, didn't somebody say that it was down before? Well, let's see. There's another video here. X is struggling.
Miss Birchmore was a victim.
Mercury's in retrograde. Of course it is.
Miss Birchmore was a victim.
Miss Birchmore was a victim. And Fanning quickly cleared.
So after step one, finding a vehicle to plant the seed, and they did that very effectively. The next step is they have.
Funny that he would choose the word vehicle, isn't it? A vehicle to corrupt the seed. Yeah, the vehicle that they smashed the tail light of. That vehicle. Funny choice of words there.
Identify a target. Who are they going to blame? Who's going to be the villain? In this case, a villain goes from anybody that gets in the way. It could be a soccer mom. It could be a police officer. It could be a good Samaritan. Anybody that crosses the path is a target. And now they decided they were going to identify Lieutenant Fanning. Lieutenant Fanning is one of the most conscientious, dedicated.
So conscientious. And that's where it goes to buffer. Because you know what? The gods know that he's not conscientious or dedicated. He cleared his buddy Matthew Farwell of murder and quickly ruled Sandra Birchmore's death a suicide. Nothing to see here, folks. Look the other way. Look the other way. Nothing to see here. Yeah, I don't know. Twitter's having. Oops. What the Duck says, I'm in the docket, nothing new yet. How long do you think it's going to take them to scan all of the things, like the exchange of the 12 experts? Maybe a decision on the motion to dismiss. Idiot when became a new member. Welcome. Oh, thanks, What the Duck, for your super chat. Cherie has grave concerns. I'm praying that an appeal is not necessary. I know. Same. Piney Woods, Bev's defensive reaction to defense counsel's allegations against Fanning was all I needed to finally tip me to her collusion with the Commonwealth. Something is rotten in Canton. Sunshine is the best disinfectant. Karen said that during one of her interviews. I agree. Thank you for the super chat. Dr. Russell is the GOAT, is here from Norway. Just catching up. Andrew Burkhart and brother counsel talked, denying Bettero. Nothing in the rules or law says Bev was justified. Defense has a trump card if guilty. That could be. But I will say also that if you ask 5 lawyers for 5 opinions, you will get 5 different opinions. So I would just caution you from just believing opinions and taking them as fact. And could it be a really good appellate issue? Yes, I'll trust Andrea on that. I tried to watch that show. I did watch some of it, but I found the chat to be so horrific to Andrea that I had to turn it off. And at one point, I think one of the mods said something like, just let the trolls say what they say, do what they do, because, we're looking for engagement. And I'm like, well, somebody comes on to my show and starts trashing one of my guests. They're getting booted and the comments are getting deleted. And it's just, I don't know, decorum. So it made me mad. Did anybody else notice that? And Dark Beholder says, if 5 lawyers only give you 5 answers, you're lucky. Shauna, what would we do without you? I don't know. Maybe you'd be bored, not laughing as much. Thanks, Shauna. Aaron Gaze, will those that testify be able to go back and read their transcripts from the first trial? Well, that's an interesting question. Because we know now that when Jennifer McCabe went into the station or the DA's office with Matt McCabe before her testimony and met with Tully, because Tully wrote a report, but he didn't draft it until after she testified, and it wasn't turned over to the defense until after she testified. In Tully's report, it doesn't say that Adam Lally was there. It doesn't say that Laura McLaughlin was there. It says, I met with Jennifer McCabe and Matt McCabe. They asked to see copies of their grand jury testimony, so he gave it to them. They asked to see video, dash cam video of them outside the scene, 34 Fairview. I don't know that we ever saw any dash cam footage with Matt McCabe in it, but he showed it to them. Somebody said in a chat I read somewhere that perhaps Matt McCabe arrived on scene around the time that Karen was brought back to the scene and put in an ambulance to go to the hospital because they sectioned her. That maybe Matt arrived then and got out of the car. I don't remember seeing that video. If anybody does, let me know. And the report by Tully also said that Jen McCabe asked to listen to the 911 call. Because remember, Aidan Carney uncovered and talked about and played on his show the recording, I guess, from John's voicemail. Because what happened was when Karen jumped out of the car and she saw John's body, she was leaving a message for John, like a voicemail for John. And she dropped her phone in the back seat of the car and it was still recording. So it was recording what Jen McCabe said in the car, right? And that was then public knowledge. And you know that all of the witnesses watch all of these shows and they watch everything that's going on out here on social media. And she asked Tully if she could listen to her 911 call, and he let her listen to it. Why was Tully prepping these witnesses for their testimony? I have so many questions about that. Will they be given their transcripts in the first trial? Probably. Are they allowed to be? Depends on the rules in Massachusetts. But you know what? If the rules in Massachusetts allow or require, as in this case, the defense to turn over their impeachment evidence to the prosecution, essentially taking away their smoking guns by giving the prosecution their smoking guns, it wouldn't surprise me if they're allowed to be given all of their transcripts so that they can properly prep themselves for the next trial. Because it is the land of the lost, upside down matrix world, Massachusetts, apparently, where rules are just made up on the fly and judges are the ones determining conflicts. That's a great question. If there are any Massachusetts attorneys in the chat who know that answer for sure, it may be judicial discretion. But it may, I think the prosecutors are doing a lot of things. You know, I don't know that it's up to the judge. It's not up to the judge. It wouldn't be up to the judge. They wouldn't ask the judge. They're just doing stuff. They're prepping these witnesses with their impeachment testimony so that they can have a story ready. Ethically, are they supposed to do that? I'm not sure. Ask 5 lawyers to get 5 different opinions. Craig says, correction, you get 5 lawyers in a room, you get 6 opinions because of one of the lawyers is going to be that guy. Yeah, that guy. That guy never went in the house. Thanks, Shauna, for gifting a membership. Colin Alessi is here. My wife should have been a lawyer. She can argue every side of an issue. I don't think Colin Alessi is married, but I think you're talking about your own wife. Thanks for super chat. Charles is here. He's from South Africa. Ask the video person if the vehicle is right-hand drive because the video shows that. The video is inverted, so it looks like it is, but it's not. They had to flip it around to get it in the proper format, right? So does the Commonwealth have to disclose their smoking guns as well? Scales of justice are so uneven at this point. I imagine that it applies to both. I can't imagine that it would only apply to the defense. I think it applies to both sides, but I'd have to go back and look at the order. The scales of justice are so uneven at this point, she says. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm not seeing that anything is dropping yet, so we may have to just wait it out for them to, you know, decide that they want to scan all of this stuff into the computer. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you have all your notifications set to all. Because if we break now, all of this stuff we're going to come right back on as soon as we get it. Oh, but here's an interesting thing that we can look at for now. Thank you so much. Let's take a look at, shall we, Lieutenant Fanning's final internal investigations report. I don't know if we've ever been over this before, but while we have some time, let's do it because we're here. Now that we know more about him, thanks M99. Let's do it. I don't know why everything is kind of buffering today. This is kind of weird. Now that we know more about all the things that Fanning has had his hands in. I'll allow it. Okay. But I would like the downloaded copy. Here it is. Okay. And here we go. Twitter wasn't loading for you guys either on your phone. This is Fanning's internal affairs report, and it's dated July 15th of 2024, which is conveniently after the trial was over, because I don't think that they started their investigation into him until after the trial. Remember that the mistrial was declared on July 1st. So if they didn't start his internal affairs investigation until after July 1st, it's interesting that they already wrapped up their investigation and issued their report by July 15th. Seems like a really rushed investigation, doesn't it? Hang on while I get a sip. Hold on. I need my chapstick. It's like I have chapsticks everywhere. Like there's one in my purse, there's one in my car, there's one in my pocket. There's always one in every purse that I have. Anybody else do that too? Do you have like a nightstand chapstick, a streaming chapstick, a chapstick in your purse, a chapstick in your car? And then if you move one of those chapsticks, it sticks to another location. It's a problem. All right, this is on the letterhead of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of State Police, Division of Standards and Training, Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability in Framingham, and it's dated July 15th of 2024. It is to Captain Bruce E. O'Rourke, Commanding Officer, Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability, and it is from Detective Lieutenant David Twomey, Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability, and the subject is Lieutenant John M. Fanning with his case number. This is going to be interesting. This is a cold read for me. All we knew, as far as I know, is that this investigation was closed with no action because he said he was on vacation when Proctor sent those regrettable, unprofessional text messages about looking for nudes, right? Looking for nudes. Christopher says, not to be sexist, but you girls have 100 chapstick and I can never find one. I don't like chapstick, the brand. I like Nivea, but I like is it Sunbum? Or Burt's Bees or something with SPF, for when I'm outside. But inside, I like the Nivea kind because I find it to be not sticky at all, not waxy. Yeah, look, Karen says Burt's Bees or Nivea. Yep, you got it. YouTube just crashed for you, Maloney's Law? Oh, great. Yeah, Mercury's in retrograde. YouTube just crashed? Wait, I still see myself. Did you get the aw snap? Did you get the aw snap? I hate when I get the aw snap. I mean, it looks to me like I'm still on, so I'm sorry if it crashed. You're gonna have to refresh. And here are the facts of the case as determined by the Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability of the Massachusetts State Police. Real men use Carmex. I find it to be too medicinal. Aquaphor, I have a lot of those too. I do love Aquaphor. I have a giant tub of it. And I do use that. It's like, it's like a ginormous jar of Vaseline. It's also good for diaper rash. Aquaphor. Fun fact. Here are the facts of the case. Oh, well, let's make this a little bit bigger if you guys want to be able to read it. Oh, on Wednesday, July 3rd, I was assigned this case by Captain Bruce O'Rourke, the commanding officer of the Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability. Ah, that's interesting. 2 days after the mistrial was granted. 2 days. Oh, see, now that you guys are talking about the chapstick, I have to go get it. So hang on for 1 second. Just give me a second to get it. Okay. All right. So what you need is like a giant one of these because it costs about the same as buying like 2 little ones. And then, instead of sticking your fingernails in there, you just get a like a Q-tip. And it's the best. Okay. So yeah, interesting that they started their investigation into Fanning just 2 days after the mistrial, and then they were wrapped by the 15th, isn't it? But not really. This investigation was initiated by Major Keith M. Egan, Deputy Division Commander of the Division of Standards and Training, after he had been apprised of allegations of inappropriate correspondence between department members. These allegations came to light on June 10th of 2024 during the trial in the Norfolk County Superior Court in the matter of Commonwealth versus Ms. Karen Reed, which included charges of second-degree murder. Okay, so got it. So the facts came out June 10th, but you don't decide to commence your investigation until July 3rd. Why is that? Were you guys too busy? Were you too busy? You couldn't start investigating right away? You had to wait to see if the girl was convicted, to see if you would even investigate? Is that why you had to wait to see if she was convicted? You probably would have never done a damn thing because you would have been like, oh, see, she was guilty. No harm, no foul. Which included charges of second-degree murder. During the Reed trial, Trooper Michael D. Proctor, Norfolk County State Police Detective Unit, testified to sending several inappropriate texts. Yeah. Two of Trooper Proctor's supervisors, Sergeant Yuri Buchanek, Norfolk SPDU, and Lieutenant John Fanning, Norfolk SPDU, were on one of these text communication groups. That was the one where he says he was looking for nudes, right? Is that also the one where they were talking about getting the medical examiner to change her manner of death? Rookie move. Should have had me and Jeff do it. These text communications were sent on August 17th of 2022. Copy of Major Egan's July 3rd, 2024 to and from request for investigation is attached as Exhibit 1. Ooh, I hope we get the exhibits. On Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024, Detective Lieutenant Kevin Dwyer, Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability, sent a subject notification letter via email to Lieutenant Fanning. Oh. It's like, here's the heads up. We're investigating you. It's like a target letter in MSP parlance, maybe. Attached to this notification was a copy of the request for investigation authored by Major Egan. Major Leonard Koppenrath, Deputy Division Commander, Division of Investigative Services, and Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully, Commanding Officer, SPDU, were also provided a copy of the subject notification letter. Oh, well, there's Tully. It's Tully with his hands all up in it. Copies of Lieutenant Fanning's subject notification letter and the accompanying email correspondence are attached as Exhibit 2. On Sunday, July 7th, 2024, I downloaded Lieutenant Fanning's payroll records through the Massachusetts State Police Pay Station application for the week ending August 20th of 2022, which includes August 17th, the date of the inappropriate correspondence. Lieutenant Fanning was on vacation for the entire week of August 15th, 2022 through August 19th of 22. Lieutenant Fanning's pay station submission for the week ending August 20th, 22 is attached as Exhibit 3. First of all, I'm noticing, you notice how they don't delineate what exactly the text messages said, number one. And number two, I want to see his payroll records, Fanning's, that is, during the Karen Reed trial. Where are those payroll records? Was he working overtime at night following a juror to bars? Because I don't think he would be doing that on his off time. I got a feeling maybe this guy is only working when he's on the clock. So I wonder about his payroll records during the Karen Reed trial. Because remember, the judge said something like, he did not have any communication with the jury. He was in charge of security. He was head of the whole security operation. He never even set foot in the courthouse. And she made all of these crazy statements on the record. And they also did the background check on the jurors. Yep. Criminal background checks after the jury was seated. Oh, it's a public record. You can get his payroll records. Oh, that's interesting. Thanks, Crunchy Frog. On Monday, July 8th, 2024, I sent a letter to Lieutenant Fanning notifying him I had been assigned as the investigating officer for his case number. Major Coppenrath and Detective Lieutenant Tully were also provided with a copy of this notification letter. Copies of Lieutenant Fanning's notification letter and accompanying email correspondence are attached as Exhibit 4. On Monday, July 8th, 2024, I traveled to the Norfolk County Superior Court to obtain any exhibits associated with inappropriate text messages sent by Trooper Proctor to his coworkers. Oh, maybe they are going to talk about him. So interesting that they waited until the trial was over, but not really. Norfolk County Head Account Clerk blank provided me with Exhibit 567 from the Reed trial. This exhibit was admitted as evidence in court on June 10th, 2024. It includes Apple iOS, SMS, MMS, short message service, and multimedia messaging service from Trooper Proctor's iCloud. The text conversation details 651 messages in the chat from May 26 to August 26 of 2022. Oh boy, I'd love to see what the rest of them say. Of the 651 messages, less than 30 of the text communications were part of this exhibit. The chat participants in this chat group were a Chris Moore, Trooper Christopher Moore, SPDU, Norfolk, and then they say the last 4 digits of his phone number. Jeff Katowski, I think they spelled it wrong. Katowski. It's Jeff Katowski, Trooper, with the last 4 digits of the phone number. John Fanning, Lieutenant Fanning, with his last 4 digits of his phone number. Vito DeChico, Trooper David DeChico. And Yuri Buchanek. We found this out the other day. Trooper DeChico and Trooper Katowski have both been promoted. You may recall during one of these text threads when they said, they were saying something like, did you get her, meaning Irene Scortibello, the medical examiner, did you get her to change her manner of death? And Michael Proctor said something like, you know, Yuri and I talked to her 3 different times. She's a whack job. And then he tried to deny he was talking about the medical examiner because he didn't want her to throw him under the bus when she testified. DeChico said, rookie move. You should have had me and Jeff do it. Jeff is Jeff Katowski. Apparently, they have a long history of, apparently, I would infer from those messages that they had done it before, gotten the medical examiner to change their manner of death on death certificates. And it is also worth pointing out to you that Jeff Katowski was in the room during the autopsy of Andrew Savitz. Andrew Savitz died 1 year, almost to the day, before John O'Keefe on January 28th of 2021. His ex-wife, Penny McGee, was charged with manslaughter and was facing 20 years in prison. She had a bench trial in Judge Cannoni. What had happened with Andrew Savitz was that Penny McGee and Andrew Savitz, it was her ex-husband, had a verbal argument. There's conflicting testimony about whether or not she may have shoved him. Andrew Savitz dropped dead of a heart attack in the foyer of the home that they were both living in together. At autopsy, it was discovered that Andrew Savitz had a 90% occlusion of his carotid artery, which they called cartoid artery. The ADA said cartoid about 700 times in closing, and it's like nails on a chalkboard. The medical examiner in that case, this was also in Norfolk County. A lot of the same players. Buchanek was involved in this case. He's the one who interviewed Zuzi Savitz. Remember Zuzi and her testimony? The daughter who was clearly estranged from her mom. Not only did he have a 90% occlusion of his carotid artery, he had advanced cardiovascular disease. He had had a stroke 6 months prior to his death. He had been involved in 2 major car accidents in which he totaled his car within the 6 months prior to his death, and he had cognitive problems. So many pre-existing conditions, but the cause of death was a heart attack brought on by a verbal argument, according to this medical examiner. Originally, I think her death certificate said either undetermined or natural causes, and then 3 months later, she changed it to homicide. It was wild. We watched that trial together. Judge Cannoni, from the bench, it was a bench trial, acquitted Penny McGee from the bench right away. We couldn't believe it. So Kukowski and DeCicco have a history of this, clearly. And Kukowski was in the room when the medical examiner did her autopsy. Nobody ever asked her if she had ever had any conversations with Kukowski about her manner of death. I would have loved to have asked that if I was in the courtroom. I would have said, hey, Larry Tipton, this guy's got a history. We heard about it in the Karen Reed trial. On August 17th, 2022, at 9:42:07 p.m., Trooper DeCicco sent a picture of Ms. Reed's defense attorney, Mr. David Yannetti, to the group. Remember, this is 7 months, almost 7 months post-death of John O'Keefe. This was 2 months after Karen Reed's charges were upgraded to murder. On August 17, 2022, at 9:43:54 p.m., Sergeant Buchanan laughed at the image of Attorney Yannetti. On August 17, 2022, at 9:44 p.m., Trooper Proctor texted, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. And they put sick in here because that should have an apostrophe, but you know. He then texted, no nudes so far. He texted in reference to Attorney Yannetti, I hate that man. I truly hate him. Trooper Moore then disliked the no nudes so far comment. These guys have a history of looking for nudes in defendants' phones. You think maybe there's some evidence that they might have been looking for nudes of Anna Walsh in Brian Walsh's phone? That they might have been looking for nudes in Anna Walsh's phone? That they might have been looking for nudes in Katie McLean's phone? Dr. Harry Turk, his trial starting on March 25th in the same building. That happened in Dover. We have a lot of playlists on that case. We're going to go over the hearing tomorrow. I thought it was today. Sorry. Buchanan. Yeah, I know what it's pronounced. Buchanan. I know. I'm here. I've been here for a long time. Buchanan. I don't really care. He doesn't deserve the proper pronunciation, quite frankly. Are they going to uncover that in the Walsh case? Are they going to uncover that in the Turk case? How many other phones have they gone through looking for nudes? Because if Trooper Moore is disliking that comment, it doesn't seem to be so far out of the realm of possibility that it's not the first time. On August 17, 2022, at 9:54:57 p.m., Sergeant Buchanan liked the quote, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. The next communication in the thread was a full day later on August 18th of 2022 at 10:42:40 p.m. It was a text from Sergeant Buchanan stating, how'd it go, coach? Got a homicide last night, so couldn't catch any of it. The 6 text messages following Sergeant Buchanan appeared to reference a baseball game involving Trooper Kukowski. A copy of Exhibit 567 from the Commonwealth v. Ms. Karen Reed is attached as Exhibit 5. This is so weird how they say Ms. Karen Reed. On Monday, July 8th, 2024, court reporter Christine Blankenship provided me with the transcription of Trooper Proctor's 2 days of testimony on June 10th, 2024 and June 12th, 2024. Yeah, remember how conveniently I think they put him on the stand on a Friday? Hold on a second. And then he had the whole weekend off. Proctor did before he had to come back on the Monday. Let me just check my calendar to check those dates. Wait, June of 2024. Let's say the 10th was a Monday and the 12th was a Wednesday, but the Tuesday was a day off because I have in my calendar no court. And it's my opinion, I'm sticking to it, that certain witnesses were put on the stand on certain days when they knew there would either be a weekend or a day off the next day so that they would have some extra time to prep. And they're not supposed to be prepped while they're under oath, by the way. That is not permissible. But at this point, I'm not putting anything past the Norfolk County DA's office. The following is a summary of Trooper Proctor's June 10th, 2024 testimony. He testified that on August 17th, 2022, he sent several texts to the above-mentioned group. In paragraph 5, including Sergeant Buchanan and Lieutenant Fanning. Trooper Proctor responded, "Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone," to a picture Trooper DeChico sent of Ms. Reed's attorney. That was David Yannetti. And that is why in court the other day, when the Commonwealth was saying it is so prejudicial, Brennan said that they included this text message from Proctor to Lally calling Alan Jackson an a-hole that was under some sort of protective order. Alan Jackson said, well, or David Yannetti said, it's no surprise. There's no prejudice because everyone knows how Trooper Proctor feels about her attorneys because it was brought out in the first trial that he hated me. And when Proctor said, I hate that man, I truly hate him, you know who that reminded me of? Big Case Mike. Remember Big Case Mike? We were watching, I don't remember, was it Court TV one day? And we had to suffer through the commercials. And Big Case Mike was their expert think tank lawyer who came on and said, I hate Karen Reed. I really hate that woman. I'm like, dude, what did Karen Reed ever do to you? It was wild. It was like insane. And they've called him since then to talk about not only this case, but others. It was crazy. The phone referenced belonged to Ms. Reed. Under cross-examination by Ms. Reed's defense attorney, Mr. Alan Jackson, Trooper Proctor indicated that Sergeant Buchanan and Lieutenant Fanning were his supervisors. Attorney Jackson asked Trooper Proctor, what did you write after you talked about going through the, quote, retarded client's phone? Trooper Proctor responded, no nudes so far. Attorney Jackson later asked, and you said that to your bosses? Trooper Proctor responded, yes, sir. Attorney Jackson later asked, to be clear, when you sent those text messages on that group chat, those text messages included, as we said, or as you said, not one, but two of your supervisors, correct? Trooper Proctor responded, correct. Yeah, Kim Robinson says, Big Mike PR smear campaign against Karen Reed. Yep. Yep. Attorney Jackson then asked Trooper Proctor if Sergeant Buchanan or Lieutenant Fanning dressed him down in a responsive text for looking at nude photos of a female suspect in an investigation. Trooper Proctor testified that he did not recall if either Sergeant Buchanan or Lieutenant Fanning did this. Trooper Proctor then testified that Sergeant Buchanan liked Trooper Proctor's text. I'm going through his retarded client's phone. I know. Teacup Kraken says, I can't stand it when people use the R word or the other F word. Seems like it's still widely accepted in Massachusetts. I don't think it is, but I think that, like was pointed out in the tweets that we read earlier, the juror who was excused right 10 minutes before Alan Jackson's closing, based on information obtained from Sergeant Fanning to a court officer to the judge without a hearing, that juror was horrified when they were reading these text messages. New document on website, new document on website. As soon as somebody emails it to me, I will have it. Never fear. Just because it's showing up, it may not be scanned yet. So hang on. Hold, please. Hold, please. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Yeah, snack time. Everyone go to your cubbies and get your snacks. I'll allow it. Get your snacks. Nope. Oops. Remember the no peanut rule. Okay. Oh, interesting. There's an order regarding media protocol and coverage. And it's docket number 556. And my paralegal is telling me it's not scanned yet. We're waiting for a copy. This must be a sua sponte order, meaning she's just making this order on her own because nobody has made a motion regarding media protocol and coverage. Because I know this docket like the back of my hand. Is she going to say no cameras? Is she going to say only X amount of media allowed in per day and they must have a media pass, and unless you're official media, you're not going to be able to come in? I don't know. Maybe Breenan shared his thoughts about media coverage, says John Monagle. Well done, sir. Well done. He doesn't have to make motions, right? Maybe they just had a private meeting, an ex parte meeting. It's Delphi Part 2. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. You just can't make it up. There's no motion pending about it. I'm going to put up my my email, so if anybody gets a copy of it, you can email it to me. But for those of you who are sending me emails during the stream, I'm not reading them. So please, unless it's this document number 556. Where's my banner with my email on it? It's fanbase at mlittlelaw.com, fanbase at mlittlelaw.com. Those of you who are the frequent emailers know it probably by heart. Here you go. Oh, now I'm just going to keep refreshing my inbox because I need to know what this order regarding media coverage says. Media protocol and coverage. Okay. On Tuesday, July 9th, 2024, I sent a subject call-in letter via department email to Lieutenant Fanning. Lieutenant Fanning was directed to attend an interview at General HQ, or headquarters, on Thursday, July 11th at 10:30 a.m. Major Coppenrath and Detective Lieutenant Tully were also provided with a copy of the subject call-in letter. Copy of Lieutenant Fanning's call-in letter with the accompanying email correspondence is attached as Exhibit 8. On Thursday, July 11th. For those of you just joining, we are awaiting a copy of the court's order regarding media coverage and protocols, which is sua sponte apparently, and we are also reading Trooper John Fanning's internal affairs investigation report, which is the first time that I am seeing this. Welcome. Somebody says Twitter has most likely been compromised. Check any CC you have linked with it. Credit card may take them months to announce the security breach. It often does. Yep, green-eyed Southern girl. Who told me? I saw your comment the other day that you said your 72-year-old dad has been watching the show. So hey, green-eyed Southern girl's dad, welcome. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is a filing that dropped today. It has not been scanned in yet. No, what we're reading right now is the Internal Affairs Investigative Report on Trooper Fanning, which we just got a hold of that I've never seen before. I don't know if any of you have seen it before. We are waiting for the order that has just dropped on media coverage. It's not scanned in yet. On Thursday, July 11th, I, along with the Detective Lieutenant Jeremy Sweeney of OPIA, interviewed Lieutenant Fanning at General Headquarters. Attorneys Timothy Burke and Jared Burke represented Lieutenant Fanning during the interview. Lieutenant Fanning was provided a copy of the Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability Commissioned Officer Report. Commissioned Officer Administrative Rights from form prior to the interview, which he and his attorneys reviewed in private before he signed it. The interview was recorded with the knowledge and permission of everyone present, and a transcript of the recording was later created. Okay, so they recorded it. Love to see that interview. I don't think that's subject to FOIA, is it? I doubt it. It's an internal administrative proceeding of the MSP, Internal Affairs. I don't think it's going to be public. And again, it's taken them 3 hearings. Well, 2 so far. They're going to have another hearing on Proctor because they can't make that determination yet. But they closed this one real quickly, didn't they? Copy of Lieutenant Fanning's signed administrative rights form is attached as Exhibit 9. A copy of Lieutenant Fanning interview transcript is attached as Exhibit 10. The following is a synopsis of what Lieutenant Fanning stated during his interview. Lieutenant Fanning has been assigned to the Norfolk County District Attorney's State Police Detective Unit for 12 years, working there as a trooper, sergeant, and lieutenant. Currently, 4 troopers who work there are his direct reports. They investigate sexual assaults, white-collar crime, and computer crimes. Well, that's interesting, considering 2 of those things, sexual assaults and computer crimes, were also part of the Birchmore investigation, during which he cleared Matthew Farwell, his buddy, fellow Stoughton cop, awfully quickly. Guess he's not that good at it. Trooper Proctor was a direct report to Sergeant Buchanan. Sergeant Buchanan reported directly to Detective Lieutenant Tully. Lieutenant Fanning was not directly involved in the investigation of the death of Mr. John O'Keefe. Can anybody point out to me again where he might have been involved in the death of John O'Keefe? Because they're saying he wasn't directly involved. Sergeant Buchanan was the supervisor in charge of the investigation. Oh, okay. So it was Buchanan's duty to scold Proctor, not Fanning's, according to the Internal Affairs Department. I see where this is going. And didn't Buchanan get a slap on the wrist, like they took away maybe 3 or 5 of his vacation days, of which he probably had like thousands saved up? Yeah, there's no ramifications for the behavior of these people ever, which is why they can continue on and on and on and on doing what they're doing. Without any ramifications for their behavior. A lie unchecked becomes the truth. Lieutenant Fanning has 1 phone, his personal phone. Sergeant Buchanan additionally only has 1 phone. What? Wait, what? Fanning does not have a state-issued cell phone. He doesn't have a work phone. He only has 1 phone, and it's his personal phone. What? We know Proctor had a personal phone and a work phone because the feds got a hold of the personal phone and the text messages. That's how those were found out. Yeah, he didn't check his personal phone on vacation. Great point. Yep. Magnolia Gypsy says, oh, so both of their personal phones are subject to FOIA. Apparently they are, according to the own internal records of the Internal Affairs Department of the Massachusetts State Police. Get your pencils out, kids. Amy says, so when he was on vacation, he could have seen those messages. Yep. I don't know. Pineywood said that can't be true. No work phone? I don't know. Mrs. Monty says, lie. My daughter works for the state of Massachusetts and has a work phone. Wouldn't you think that the law enforcement officers would? They want witnesses communicating with them on their personal phones? Is that why Tully's personal phone was involved in the text message threads between Mello, Mafia Masshole K. Peter, and Lindsay Gattani? Oh, I have so many questions. Proctor has one, but his bosses don't? Come on. No, they're not saying Proctor. They're saying Lieutenant Fanning. Proctor has two. We know Proctor has two. They're saying Fanning has one phone and Buchanan has one phone. Lieutenant Fanning described the numerous text message exchange he participated in as part of his duties as the executive officer of a state police detective unit. They included a general text string, which provided updates on troopers' duty statuses, a homicide unit text chain, and text strings that may be created with other local departments if there's a homicide in a certain jurisdiction in order to share information with local detectives. Lieutenant Fanning has 5 children, is a coach, and has numerous friends. Well, his phone is constantly receiving calls and messages. He's so popular. He's so popular, you guys. 5 children. He's a coach and he has numerous friends. He's getting lots of calls and messages. So you can't expect that he would have seen this while he was on vacation, even though he only has one phone and it's a personal phone. I'm sorry, what? They're saying it's the only phone he had. Excuses. On August, is anybody really surprised? On August 17th, 2022, Lieutenant Fanning, his family, and the family of another department member went on vacation to the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Well, you know what? The saving grace is here. If they're saying he only had one phone and it was his personal phone and all of that is subject to FOIA, it'd be so interesting, wouldn't it, to see if he had any communications about the juror with anyone? Who contacted him about the juror? Who saw the juror in a bar and says that they overheard her talking about the case? She denies it. No hearing was ever held. But the information came from him. And now, since he only has one phone, according to the MSP, it's all discoverable. Defense team, are you listening? Did he go to Cancun with Melanie? No. But I too have 5 children. Doesn't mean I don't read my messages. My email is up on the board here in case anybody gets a hold of docket number 556, which is a new order that has not been scanned yet regarding media protocol and coverage. Dated today, March 10th, 2025, and I'm on the edge of my seat. Vinny just had one of the jurors on. Thank you, Crystal, for telling me that, but could you please refrain from using so many emojis in the chat? Oops. I think I just blocked you by accident. I can't fix it now, though. I'm sorry. I just tried to delete that because it was freaking me out. All those exclamation points were freaking me out. I'll go fix it later. I'm going to have to write that down, Crystal Stars. Sorry about that. And I think the juror was not on live. So there's that. On August 17th of 2022, Lieutenant Fanning, his family, and the family of another department member went on vacation to the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Lieutenant Fanning did not recognize and did not have any memory of the photo Trooper DeChico sent of Attorney Yannetti in the group text. Okay, so he didn't know who it was. He didn't recognize that it was David Yannetti, and he didn't have any memory of the photo Trooper DeChico sent of Yannetti. Okay, anybody believe that? Lieutenant Fanning said if he had seen the text message following the photo, he would have addressed it. Lieutenant Fanning never reprimanded Trooper Proctor for the comments via text regarding looking for nude photos or referring to Mr. Yannetti's client being retarded. If he had seen those texts, he would have addressed the comments. Really? Really? So now it's about 2 years later and you've never seen him and you never had any time to reprimand him for 2 years. Are you shocked? Yeah, can we get the metadata on when he read that? I don't know. I don't know if we can. We're waiting. We're waiting for the order. 556. If anybody has it, my email's on the screen, which I keep refreshing. As far as I know, it has not been scanned in yet. If you've seen it somewhere, certainly, please let me know. And I'll break from what I'm doing to cover it, of course. But if Twitter is down right now, I don't know where you're seeing it. Yeah, it's not scanned. Waiting for email from the clerk. Thank you. But somebody said Twitter was down, so it's usually where the breaking news is. And if it's not there, I don't know. Somebody said she wants to keep the cameras out. I'm saying I think maybe that is what this order is. I don't have a confirmation on that. Right. He doesn't recognize Yannetti, but he remembers the juror. That's right, Mrs. Jim Morrison. People are strange. When you're a stranger, faces look ugly. When you're alone, women seem wicked. When they're unwanted. I don't even know if I'm getting the words right, but you know. I thought Fanning liked to comment. I don't think so. They're saying that he didn't because he has 5 kids and a lot of friends and only one phone, only his personal phone. Thank you. Hold, please. It's not working for me. Twitter's not working for me. It's refreshing, refreshing, refreshing. And there's nothing refreshing about it. Hold, please. Hold, please. If somebody has access to Twitter and Christina Rex's feed, and you can screenshot it and email it to me, my email is on the screen. That'd be great. And if anybody who has already seen it, if it's really out, because she's probably standing in the courthouse next to the clerk, like, give me a copy. Please refrain from spoilers in the chat. Yeah, I'm getting a timeout occurred on Twitter. Twitter may have been hacked. I don't know. So we're just going to have to wait. We're going to have to be patient. I'm Aquarius. I'm Aquarius. Somebody's speculating that I'm a Virgo or Aries. Nope. Lieutenant Fanning was not privy to what Trooper Proctor testified to in a federal grand jury. Really? Really? Do you really believe that? Do you really think they didn't discuss it? Because the federal grand jury was when? Beginning 2024. You guys, Karen Reed's case broke Twitter. He did know that Trooper Proctor was going to be questioned about inappropriate texts as part of his testimony. Lieutenant Fanning did not know he personally was a part of the text string Exhibit 5 until Trooper Proctor testified in court. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Oops, I have questions about all of that. I don't think I believe any of it. But it's not for me to decide. It's for the MSP Internal Affairs Department. The email is right on your screen, fanbase@mlittlelaw.com. Fanbase@mlittlelaw.com. Lieutenant Fanning was not responsible for creating, reviewing, or approving Trooper Proctor's employee evaluation. Sergeant Buchanan created the document, and Detective Lieutenant Tully posted it. All righty. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Karen. Somebody named Karen. Not Karen. Not our Karen. Another Karen. And also Zeta 4. Let's take a look. The order's out. Hang tight, my friends. Hang tight while I just move this screen over to here. And to you amazing armchair detectives. I love you with all of my heart. Okay. Order regarding media, protocol, and coverage. And just bear with me while I got to download this so that I can pull it up and enlarge it for you. Because it's like 3 different pages. So just hold. Okay, got it. Got it. Got it. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Order regarding media protocol and coverage. This was just hit the docket just now. The guarantee of a, quote, public trial. U.S. Constitution Amendment 6, grounded in the democratic values of public accountability and openness, serves as a safeguard against attempts to employ our courts as instruments of persecution, citing a couple of cases. Today, a trial is made public through live broadcasts from registered media members who are regularly engaged in the reporting and publishing of news or information about matters of public interest, citing SJC Rule 119. While maximum freedom must be allowed the press in carrying on this important function in a democratic society, its exercise must necessarily be subject to the maintenance of absolute fairness in the judicial process. In order to ensure the safety and well-being of all trial participants, the defendant's right to a fair trial by an impartial jury, and conformity with SJC Rule 119 and the dignity of the proceeding, the court enters the following orders regarding media and journalist coverage of the above referenced case. 1. Media representatives, reporters, journalists, and anyone else claiming status as a journalist under Rule 119 shall be required to sign in every day in a manner prescribed by the clerk of the court and to show proof of registration with the SJC Public Information Office. There shall be a designated seating area for media. Any journalist registered with the Supreme Judicial Court under Rule 119 seeking access to the broadcast or photographic or audio material for broadcast, streaming, or posting on the internet must coordinate their request and access through the designated media pool representative in accordance with Rule 119 2F. Filming, streaming, photographing, recording, transmission, or broadcast of any court proceedings shall occur only through pool arrangements in accordance with Rule 119 2F. The court shall permit one stationary, mechanically silent television broadcast or streaming camera and one still photography camera during the trial. Pool cameras and camera operators shall be in place prior to the start of the session and shall not be dismantled while the court is in session. Camera operator and other members of the media pool shall not interrupt court proceedings with technical problems. Filming, streaming, photographing, recording, transmission, or broadcast of any kind shall not take place until the court is called into session, when the judge enters the courtroom and takes the bench, and shall immediately cease, be shut off, or deactivated during court recesses and upon adjournment each day, except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2 above. Thank you guys. You guys can stop emailing it to me because I'm already going over it right now. I appreciate you so much. I love each and every one of you. You're all the best. Filming, streaming, photographing, recording, transmission, or broadcast. All right, I already said that. Except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2 above, no person is permitted to film, photograph, record, and stream, transmit, or broadcast court proceedings at any time through photographic or electronic recording devices, including still or video cameras, cell phones, smartphones, tablets, laptops, audio recording or transmitting devices, or any other electronic device with communication capabilities. Except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2, no person is permitted to use any electronic device with communication capabilities to submit updates to social media during the proceedings. Does that mean that we're not allowed to stream the trial on YouTube? Is that what this means? And that nobody's allowed to live tweet from the courtroom? Is that constitutional? You're gonna have to read that again. Look at the rule. No, it's not the same if nobody's allowed to stream it and we're not allowed to stream it and talk about it. I don't know. Hang on. In accordance with Rule 119 2B, no person is permitted to record, transmit, or broadcast sidebar conferences. Well, we don't do that anyway. Between the judge and counsel, conferences between counsel, and conferences between counsel and the defendant at any time. The pool camera operator shall pause or disengage the audio component of the pool cameras during sidebar conferences. All microphones shall be shut off during sidebar conferences. The pool camera operator shall not manipulate the camera's zoom and focus to reveal accidentally or otherwise documents of attorneys, the clerk of the court, or the judge, or any other documents not admitted as trial exhibits or not published to the jury. Yeah, or Karen's cell phone. Media requests for inspection or copies of trial exhibits shall be made on a form or in a manner prescribed by the clerk of court. The clerk's office shall make reasonable efforts to accommodate such requests in a timely manner, subject to court operations. Original trial exhibits shall remain in the custody or under the control of the clerk at all times. All right, so he says pool cameras can transmit out. Once it's out, it can be fair use for other streamers. Okay. She's saying no one in the courtroom can stream to the public, but nobody did that before. Okay. Paragraph 7, in accordance with Rule 119 2B, the court prohibits the filming or photographing of any juror or prospective juror at any time, including during court proceedings and any court-conducted view. No person shall contact, follow, interview, or communicate in any way with a juror prior to the discharge of the jury or otherwise harass or tamper with a juror. Somebody says it's just to keep Aiden out of the courtroom, but he's credentialed. He has media credentials. So hang on. We'll dissect it a little bit more after we just read through it fully. Jury impanelment shall commence on April 1st, 2025 at 9:30 in the first session courtroom in Norfolk Superior Court. That's the big courtroom on the first floor, yeah. The court will permit a single pool film camera and a single pool still camera for the first portion of the impanelment process, placing the defendant at bar, introducing the case and the preliminary instructions to the jury. Well, that's the way it's normally done. They never really stream the questioning of the jurors and the voir dire itself. The cameras shall be focused only on the judge, clerk, defendant, and attorneys and shall not film or photograph any prospective juror. When the court recesses after the introduction of the case, all cameras shall be turned off during the remainder of the impanelment process. Media representatives, journalists, and the public at large may observe but shall not record or broadcast the subsequent individual voir dire proceedings. No cameras or recording devices shall be permitted on successive days of impanelment. All persons subject to this order, including all media representatives, reporters, and journalists, are prohibited from interviewing or attempting to interview any person in the courtroom or courthouse. No person shall interview with intent to relay, transmit, or distribute publicly the contents of that interview. Any person in the courtroom or courthouse. The court prohibits any person from taking photographs, filming, recording, or broadcasting events occurring outside the courtroom in other areas of the courthouse. So they're not allowed to interview anybody who's sitting in the courtroom saying, what did you observe today? Court officers or court personnel are authorized by this order to secure any area which they deem necessary or appropriate to ensure the proper operation of court proceedings and the well-being and personal privacy of jurors. A violation of any of the provisions of this order may constitute a contempt of court. Court officers may eject or exclude entry to any person believed to have violated any provisions of this order. All right, let's go to the so ordered XOXO, Beverly Cannoni, Justice of the Supreme Court, dated today. Let's go to the chat for a minute before we dissect this. Also, let me just check something real quick. So weird that Twitter is down right now, too. That's crazy. Well, for some of us, it's down. For many of you, it is not, apparently. Thanks, Dr. Russell is the GOAT for gifting a membership. We're going to go over this again. I want to read it more carefully. It is so bad that I wonder if the Commonwealth and Bev are purposely giving her a slam dunk appeal case, but if they convict initially, it covers them. To Lulu, thank you for your super chat. Auntie Bev's liver says, last week during the hearing, my husband and I were listening in the car. We heard police sirens and my husband looked in the rearview mirror. I said, no, honey, those sirens are in Massachusetts. Brennan is lying to the court again. I know, it's funny. The sirens always go off at the most opportune times. Sooner Girl became a member. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Auntie Bev's liver, for your super chat. Cat Artist, I hope to see free Karen Reed. Hope to free Karen Reed since she has not been incarcerated. Like Sarah Boone, Donna Adelson, Stephen Stearns, etc. have. Thank you for your super chat. Kyle, we had a captain fired on the golf course on vacation. The something was at his station was imparted to him, their supervisor. The culture was blamed on him. Thank you. Vacation is not an excuse when subordinates act up. Thank you, Kyle, for 2 super chats in a row. KGC, thanks for becoming a member. Greg says we could just call him with the subtitles, called him Trooper Butt Naked. Oh my gosh, did it really? That's crazy. Piney Woods, thank you. Yes, got the new document. We just read it. We're going to read it. We're going to read it again. Thank you. Thank you, Kyle, for cheating on another creator with me. I appreciate it. One phone, shaking my head. Every cop has a work phone that is supposed to be sterile, like emails. Your business with personal, it all becomes discoverable. Yes, yes. But according to that thing, we're a little behind in the chat. Anonymous Nobody says, pro tip, born and raised in Mass, left the day after turning 18. That was over 40 years ago. Happily living in Florida, nice weather and no state tax. Okay. All right. Let me just, hold please. Right. If X is down, then how come Christina Rex could post that on X at 12:17 p.m.? It's apparently it's down in some parts of the country and others not. Some of you were great enough to screenshot it and send it to me. So thank you, Bobby Lessie's linguistic prowess. All right, I want to go back and read the first. Paragraph 4 says, except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2 above, no person is permitted to film, photograph, record, and stream, transmit, or broadcast court proceedings at any time through photographic or electronic recording devices, including still videos, cell phones, blah, 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 blah. I mean, but it doesn't say, that doesn't specifically say inside the courtroom. Except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2, no person is permitted to use any electronic devices with communications capabilities to submit updates. So you can't tweet. And except as permitted in 1 and 2, no person is permitted to film, photograph, record, and stream, transmit, or broadcast court proceedings at any time through photographic or electronic recording devices. I don't know. It's a little bit unclear. It doesn't say from the courtroom. So let's go back to 1 and 2, because she says, except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2 above. So here it says, this is except media representatives, reporters, journalists, and anyone else claiming status as a journalist shall be required to sign in every day in a manner prescribed by the clerk. They had to do that last time too. And to show proof of registration with the SJC. Remember, they were putting like their soccer mom type chairs outside the courthouse because there's only 10 seats for the media. And so every day they were outside and they were fighting in line, and some crazy things happened out there in the line. Seeking access to broadcast. So anybody seeking access to broadcast or photographic or audio material for broadcast, streaming, or posting on the internet must coordinate their request and access to the designated media pool representative. So and then number 3 or number 2, it said except number 1 or 2. Filming, streaming, photographing, recording, transmission, or broadcast of any court proceedings shall occur only through pool arrangements in accordance with Rule 119.2F. The court shall permit one stationary, mechanically silent television, broadcast, or streaming camera. So they're having a pool camera. They did the same thing last time, didn't they? And one still camera during the trial. Pool cameras and camera operators shall be in place prior to the start of the session. Okay, don't disrupt anyone. Don't record the jurors. SJC Rule 119. Hold on. Let's take a look at the rule. So she's not banning cameras, so that's good. What are they trying to hide? People want to know. What are they trying to hide? Great question. Seems to me to be similar. No live tweeting. Alessi says, but like, does she even have jurisdiction over people outside the courtroom regarding secondary streaming of the pool feed? I don't know. I'm going to have to consult my attorney. Thank you, Flummox Alessi, for your super chat. Let's take a look at the rule. No Zoom because the Commonwealth got outed last time. Oh, so they're not doing Zoom. They're only doing a pool camera. Did they Zoom the last trial? Did they? I don't think they did. And here is the Supreme Judicial Court Rule 119, electronic access to the courts, that she refers to in her order. Section 1, covert photography, recording, or transmission prohibited. No person shall take any photographs or make any recording or transmission by electronic means in any courtroom, hearing room, office, chambers, or lobby of the judge or magistrate without prior authorization from the judge or magistrate, then having immediate supervision. So no surreptitious recordings from inside the courtroom. I don't think anybody did that report. Streamers can stream. Streamers going to stream. No inverted recordings. Shazabi, I think this is standard pretrial order except for the end of paragraph 4. And the one that says no live tweeting from the courtroom. Right. No updates to social media during the proceedings. So you can't take out your phone and tweet, even if you're media, is what it's saying. All right. In accordance with Rule 119.2b, it says 2, electronic access by the news media. A judge shall permit photographing or electronic recording or transmitting of courtroom proceedings open to the public by the news media for news gathering purposes and dissemination of information to the public, subject to the limitations of this rule. Subject to the provisions of paragraph D, the news media shall be permitted to possess and to operate in the courtroom all devices and equipment necessary to such activities. Such devices and equipment include, without limitation, still and video cameras, audio recording or transmitting devices, and portable computers or other electronic devices with communication abilities. But now she's saying no live tweeting, no photograph taking unless you're the pool photographer. The news media shall include any authorized representative of a news organization that is registered with the public information officer of the Supreme Judicial Court or any individual who is so registered. Registration shall be afforded to organizations that regularly gather, prepare, photograph, record, write, edit, report, or publish news or information about matters of public interest for dissemination to the public in any medium, whether print or electronic, and to individuals who regularly perform a similar function upon certification by the organizations or individuals that they perform such a role and that they will familiarize themselves with or their representatives, as the case may be, with the provisions of this rule and will comply with them. Yeah, let's smash the like button. Yay. In his or her discretion, a judge may entertain a request to permit electronic access as authorized by this rule to a particular matter over which the judge is presiding by news media that have not registered with the public information officer. A, substantial likelihood of harm. A judge may limit or temporarily suspend such access by the news media if it appears that such coverage will create a substantial likelihood of harm to any person or other serious harmful consequence. B, limitations. A judge shall not, it says shall, not may, shall not permit photography or electronic recording or transmission of voir dire hearings concerning jurors or prospective jurors. That's pretty standard. 2, electronic recording or transmission of bench and sidebar conferences or conferences between counsel and conferences between counsel and client. Or, and we saw this a lot, and I was screaming about it every time I saw it during the last trial and still during hearings today. The camera person is zooming in on Karen when she's talking to her lawyers and people are reading lips. Those are privileged. Don't do that. Stop. If you keep doing that, they're just going to pull the cameras all together. And then it's going to be more like Delphi than we even thought possible. Or 3, frontal or close-up photography of jurors and prospective jurors. A judge may impose other limitations necessary to protect the right of any party to a fair trial or the safety and well-being of any party, witness, or juror, or to avoid unduly distracting participants or detracting from the dignity and decorum of the proceedings. If the request is to record multiple cases in a session on the same day, a judge in his or her discretion may reasonably restrict the number of cases that are recorded to prevent undue administrative burdens on the court. C, minors and SA victims may not be photographed without the consent of the judge. That's why we saw the cameras turned off when the niece and nephew testified. Positioning of equipment. Okay, she doesn't really refer to that. She's talking about 1 and 2, 119.2b, which is the limitations. I think really the only difference here is the no live tweeting. I don't think that was prohibited before. If anybody else can point out to me any other differences between this order and the order before the first trial, please let me know. It doesn't say anything about a lottery for media. You can object. And that is it. That is Supreme Judicial Rule number 119 that she cites in her order. But the good news is she's not banning cameras from the courtroom. Yay! The bad news is no live tweeting, but really who cares because we're going to be watching it on court TV and law and crime and whoever else is broadcasting it from the pool camera, because they're all going to get permission from the pool camera operator. They all get to use it. Let's go to the chat. Anonymous Nobody says, pro tip, born and raised in Massachusetts, left the day after turning 18. That was over 40 years ago. Happily living in Florida. Nice weather and no state tax. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate you. Piney Woods, I will throw a rod if Bev doesn't have an evidentiary hearing on the Fanning juror thing. That's an interlocutory appeal, I think. I don't think it is. We went over all of the grounds the other day, and I don't think it is. It's a good post-conviction appeal, but we're hoping it doesn't get that far. Thank you so very much for your super chat. Fanning made over $247,000 last year, $54,000 in overtime, $9,000 other, says Galaxy Girl in her super chat. So thank you for that. BC, badum, that is the sound, badum. That is the sound of everyone throwing Proctor onto the bus. Thank you. The wheels on the bus go round and round right over Proctor. Thank you, BC, for your super chat. KLM, Karen's comment earlier, she said defense has no control over the documentary airing next week. I wonder if this order is about that. Can Bev order that Discovery ID not air? I mean, maybe her order is only refers to statements and comments to the media going forward. It's not retroactive, so I don't know. Maybe they can't. Maybe this gag order has no authority over Discovery ID or HBO Max or whoever's going to be airing it, because all of the statements made by Karen's attorneys who are now gagged made these statements before the gag order was in place, because it was filmed a while ago. So I don't think she's got any say-so over the media. If anybody thinks differently, point me to some actual an actual rule that says that. But I don't think she's not the boss of them, KLM. Thank you for your super chat. Emma, Aiden knows which person told Fanning about the jury allegedly talking about the case in a bar, but obviously will not divulge that. Okay. I didn't know that. Misadventure, thank you, Emma. Misadventures Book Mouse, only personal phones? I bet that Hanky, that's why Hanky has been so cagey about Morrissey's communications. Yeah. Remember, he said he couldn't even trust a Tane team to do it, that he had to personally take on the job himself, right? Take on the job himself. Brooklyn Payzola says that in 2023, Judge Conan was paid $207,000. Boy, how pissed is she that Brennan is getting paid more than she gets paid for an entire year? How pissed is she? She should be more pissed now at the Commonwealth than she is at the defense. I mean, the defense attorneys make way more than that, and way more than Brennan. But really, you want to be pissed at somebody? Be pissed that your county, where you're a sitting judge, where you were appointed to be a sitting judge, is paying Hank Brennan more money than you, Your Honor. And if they were only paying me $207,000, I'd be wanting half day Fridays, Taco Tuesdays, and happy hour Wednesdays too. And I would not want to have court 5 days a week either, because quite frankly, they're not paying you enough. Yeah, a new order drop 556. We just went over it. We went over the rule. We're way ahead. We're way ahead. So if you didn't see that portion of it, rewind. Yes. Thank you so very much. Thank you very much, Jody, for giving me some tips on a MacBook Pro docking station. I know. Somebody else wrote me an email and they're like, your face is blurry, but your posters are clear. I'm like, I don't know. I got a new camera, and maybe it's because it's auto-focusing on me, but then I'm moving too much. Like, I don't know, but I thank you for sending me that, Jody. Same order as in the last trial, or is it different? I think the difference is the live tweeting. Thank you, Dr. Russell is the GOAT, for tuning in from Norway. Michelle says, just call me late to the party. I have chapstick in every room pocket in my car, and I still lose them. Nothing to see here. Thanks, Michelle. No Zoom because the Commonwealth got outed last time. Yeah, but I don't think they Zoomed during the trial. That was only for some of the pretrial hearings, and that's when it was like, free my boy Billy Tibbetts, free Billy Tibbetts. And then somebody said, F you, Beverly. And somebody clipped it and put it on Twitter, but Twitter's down, so I can't pull it for you. But go look for it on Twitter. Was it Joe Flipperhead who posted it on Twitter? Somebody said, F you, Beverly, but they didn't say F, they said the whole word. And it's on audio at Alan Jackson. It was like in the middle of Alan Jackson speaking, but he stopped for it. And it was crazy. Was there a written order before the first trial that we could compare and contrast? If I had it easily at my easily accessible, I would pull it up. I will. If anybody has it and you want to email it to me, email it to me. It might take me too long to find it. No zooming in. That's different than the first order. Fat fingers. She doesn't. Cameras on the Commonwealth stuff. She doesn't care if there's cameras on the Commonwealth stuff. I think they're hiding more than more than anybody. Thank you, Kaz 1984, for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Send Recovery Addict a copy. He knows these orders. Great, Rosie. Thank you. When I have an opportunity, I will take it upon myself to have that homework assignment. I don't think I have his email. Maybe I do. Hold on, I have to swallow. I got to turn the mic off. Michelle said, did I hear the press has to be approved by the SJC? No, there is an SJC rule. There's a requirement that you have to register as media and prove that you are media. And there are certain guidelines or requirements that you must meet in order to be approved as media. But that has been the rule all along. And Aiden Carney does have credentials, so that's not an issue. Greg says she's not banning cameras. Okay, everyone breathe normal. Crisis averted. I know, right? Because there's only 10 seats. There's 10 seats for Karen's family and friends. There's 10 seats for the O'Keefe family and friends. And there's 10 seats for media. That's it. That's how small this courtroom is. Thanks on top for your super sticker. Funny how this order came out before the motion to dismiss decision. Also, does that mean no CPU Tom outside? I don't think it says anybody can. It says you can't live stream outside the courtroom, inside the courthouse. So what Tom CPU does is outside the courthouse. They can't control that. Thanks, KLM. Flummox Delesny, no live tweeting, but can in-court media tweet jury reactions each day after trial? I mean, after trial, I don't know. I don't know if they're allowed to tweet their observations. I didn't think that the order went that deeply, but I'll save that for later. We need merch that says rules for thee, but not for me. XOXO, Hank Brennan. Thank you, Tara. 20,207,000 grave concerns. Yes, if that was her salary last year, she's not happy. Those could be all of her grave concerns. Yep. Thank you on top. Trevor says we need Melanie, Emily Baker, and Andrea collab. That'd be great. I don't have a personal connection to Emily Baker. I've tried to reach out to her before. I've never heard back. If anybody does have a personal connection to her, that'd be great. But I don't often see her collaborating with other law tubers that much. I don't know. I think she went on Peter's show recently. I don't know. It would be great. We can all dream. Kelly, when it said media, I thought she'd been on phone to Judge Gull and it was going to be Galone Baloney. Could be worse, but it's early in Massachusetts, right? Bobby Alessi's linguistic prowess says, I'm interested in finding out what she will order for a buffer zone this time. Do you think it'll change? I don't know. I don't know. Do you think Hank Brennan will want a bigger buffer zone than last time? Probably. You think it's going to be a motion lemonade? Probably. All the motions in lemonade are due today. So I was expecting an influx of them before this media order hit the docket. And so I don't see any of them yet. But if they don't come in while we're still here, we'll come back later and do it. Hanky Can't Do That by Bob Alessi says, only silent movies of Brennan, please. Had enough of this BS. Yeah, a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm tapping out. I can't do this again. I can't watch it. Thank you, Hanky Can't Do That, for your super chat. We will see. Let me see if I have the old media order and I can read it or find it quickly. I know it's somewhere buried in my computer. So give me a second and see if I can find it. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Yes, XOXO is Gossip Girl. That's where I got it from. You're right, Hanky Panky's little wanky. That's where I got it from. And then it was crazy because Michelle Trachtenberg passed away the other day. So that's that. Guess this makes it crystal clear she's going to deny the motion to dismiss. I don't know. CM Libby 1. I don't know. Maybe she's just trying to throw the dogs off, throw the scents off. I don't know. Could be. It could be. It could mean that. But I'm not going to put anything by this judge. I'm just not. Let us see. Let us take a look and see where that media order is. This would have been issued sometime in Thank you to everyone who keeps sending me document 556. We already reviewed it. No need to keep sending, but I appreciate you so much. Let's see. Meteor order on Hildebrandt. That's not it. I don't know that I have it. I don't think that I have it. These are standard, but sometimes they don't always prohibit live tweeting from the courtroom. But it's standard that they don't ever broadcast jury selection, voir dire questions, jurors' faces. But now there's another restriction that they can't zoom in on the defense conversations. Finally. Right? I can't read your name because it's Skelerousis. Why are these police officers in nowhere getting paid so much when they can't even handle the crime scene? The Las Vegas cops said Las Vegas cops don't make nearly as much. You have last year's order. You need an email. It's fanbase at mlittlelaw.com. Thanks, Lana. I'll put it up for you. Fanbase at mlittlelaw.com. I'm sure Lana will point out the discrepancies or the differences on Twitter at some point later today when Twitter is back. If ever. When, if ever, Twitter comes back. And so there's that. Thanks, Lana. If you don't follow Lana Del Turtle on Twitter, I'm never going to call it X, so I don't care if they change the name. Dean and Eve, thank you for the super chat. Is AJ going to supplement his motion to dismiss addressing prosecutorial misconduct regarding Marcy's statement? Marcy's statement, you guys, is from August of 2023. I know that those of you who are new to the case may think that is a new statement. That is not a new statement. It happened. Peter Trago's lawyer, premiered a video this morning about it. It's the first time he's ever seen it, but that is from August of 2023. And there was a motion before the first trial to disqualify Michael Morrissey from this case because of that statement and other things. So thank you so much for your super chat, but it is old. It is old. Kyle says, I really should be more articulate. I meant to say she didn't want the Commonwealth stuff shown, thus emphasizing the Zoom lens. Oh, the Zoom lens. I thought you meant the Zoom feed. SC relevance gone now. Anyway, thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. Let's see. We didn't get it yet. The new filing, we've already, if you're behind, the new filing, we started to go over Trooper Fanning's internal affairs report. And then we went over the new order, media order, which will not allow live tweeting from the courtroom. But other than that, it is pretty standard. I don't think she's prohibiting streamers from streaming it. There's just a pool camera. Turtle, no. Is this new filing because Turtle Boy was granted to still go to court? Maybe already answered. No, because he has media credentials, and the judge in his other case, the hearing of which we watched last week, Judge Doolin, who's my new judge daddy, Silver Fox, Judge Doolin, we love him, said that Aiden Carney is allowed to go to the trial, even though he is now has he's got to stay away from all the witnesses in his case because of the thing that happened last week outside D&E Pizza, where he may or may not have been talking to the camera. And he did say on his live show, someone sent it to me, that he thinks, or that he's confirmed, that they will try and incarcerate him again when he goes back on March 18th. That is what they're trying to do. They're trying to put him back in the pokey. Ain't no joke. And he doesn't know who that judge is going to be, because I think he has to go back to, is it Stoughton District Court? I know a lot of people are saying this. Massachusetts is a two-party consent state, can't record audio. I don't know where the audio came from. I don't know if it's on a public sidewalk. I do know that Chris Albert personally emailed those videos to Tully. The whole thing is so gross. The whole thing is so gross. Thank you, Lana. Love you, girl. All right, so here's the April of 2024 order regarding media coverage. Thank you to Lana Del Turtle. Please go follow her on Twitter. And we'll see. It'll be like, one of these things is not like the other. We'll see if we can figure out the differences. Compare and contrast, everyone. Compare and contrast. Bill should have pulled Turtle Boy away from that camera. Well, I'll tell you one thing, my friends. You will never find me in CF McCarthy's ever. Ever. I will never go there. Okay. They didn't have a sign telling him he was being recorded, so he has that going for him. The judge is Julianne Herron. I'm not familiar with her. I don't know anything about a sign, and I'm not gonna weigh in on that because I just haven't done the research on it, and so I don't know exactly what the law says with regard to two-party consent. But let's look at last year's media order, shall we? Shall we? Okay. So this is from last year, and this is docket number 276. And let's see what part of it was scratch and sniff. The guarantee of a public trial grounded in the democratic values of public accountability and openness serves as a safeguard against attempts to employ our courts as instruments of persecution. Blah, 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 blah. This kind of looks like it's all the same language. Right? This is from April of 2024. This is the order, the media order from before the first trial. Hang on one second. Come on. I don't really have, StreamYard doesn't really give me the capability of putting these documents side by side so we can look at them side by side, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. You get what you get and you don't get upset. Media representatives, journalists, and anyone else claiming status as a journalist under 119 shall be required to sign in every day. That's all same stuff. Designated seating area for the media. Anyone leaving the courtroom may lose their seat and may not be permitted re-entry unless there's available seating. I didn't see that in this new order. Joe? Did you? And then it says any journalist registered with the SJC under Rule 119 seeking access to broadcast or photographic or audio material must coordinate their request through the designated media pool representative. 2, filming, streaming, photographing, recording, transmission, or broadcast of any court proceedings shall occur only through pool arrangements in accordance with Rule 119, which we just read. 1 stationary, this is the same as this order. 1 stationary camera. Pool cameras in place before the start of the session. Don't be disruptive. Filming, streaming, photographing, recording, transmission, or broadcast of any kind shall not take place until the court is called into session. Yep. Court shall immediately cease during court recesses and upon adjournment each day. And that's why sometimes we see the court feed like start a little bit late when the judge is already on the bench and has already been talking, because perhaps the camera person is distracted and forgets to turn on the camera. I don't know. Except as permitted in 1 and 2, no person is permitted to film, photograph, record, and stream anytime through recording devices. Except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2, no person is permitted to use any electronic device with communication capabilities to submit updates to social media during the proceedings. Well, that was in the last trial too, no live tweeting. This is the order from April 2024. Does anybody remember if there was live tweeting during the trial? Maybe there wasn't. I don't remember. Huh. I love Recovery Addict. Please don't start any rumors in the chat that I don't like Recovery Addict. I love him. I love Scott. He's been on my show before. He's been on my members only streams before. We were both covering the Maya Kowalski case at the same time. He's amazing. I love him very much. So let's not create any false beef, please. Number 5, in accordance with Rule 119, no person is permitted to record sidebar conferences. Same. Operator shall pause or disengage the audio during sidebars. Microphones are shut off during sidebars. Pool camera operator. I don't know why people love drama so much. I don't know. We try and keep it out of here, but occasionally it squeaks in. Media requests for inspection or copies of trial exhibits shall be made on a form or in a manner prescribed by the clerk. This is all the same as in the order that we just read. And this is dated April 8th of 2024. I'm not seeing anything really different here. Do not film the jurors. And this is, again, the prior order. Jury impoundment shall commence on April 16th at 9:30. Single pool camera. You only get to hear the beginning, the opening statements of the attorneys and the instructions to the jurors, and then you shut off your camera. Same. All persons subject to this order, media representatives are prohibited from interviewing or attempting to interview any person in the courtroom or courthouse. No person shall interview with intent to relay, transmit, or distribute publicly the contents of that interview. Court officers or court personnel are authorized by this order to secure any area which they deem necessary to ensure the proper operation of court proceedings and the well-being of the personal privacy of the jurors. Violation of any of the provisions of this order may constitute contempt of court. It's the same. Yeah. Thank you, Grace Bays. I think it's the same. It's the same. It's fine. Nothing different. When I first saw it pop up on the docket, I was like, "Oh my gosh, is she gonna ban cameras?" Because I had a feeling that was gonna be coming next. Is she gonna order that everything gets impounded? Right. Otherwise, 10 cameras could show up, filming on their phones, tweeting, etc. Yeah, this is pretty standard for her. So thank you, Lana Del Turtle, for sending this to me. As a thank you to her, I suggest if you like Twitter to actually try and go to follow her on Twitter. Okay? Women helping other women. That's what we do here. This is one of the many things that we do here. Aside from, you never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates in here. You never know what you're going to get. Kyle, last year with DFD was 6 figures, 16, 18-hour days. You talking about yourself? Kyle, I love that you super chat so much, but they're so cryptic that I just don't know. I just don't know what you're trying to say. I think you're in Dallas. Are you with the Dallas Fire Department? I'm not sure. And you're making six figures, 16 to 18-hour days. That's amazing. And quite frankly, first responders should be paid as much as possible, I think, because they put their life on the line every day for us, except for corrupt officers. Dr. Russell is the GOAT. If it makes it easier, pin a comment regarding the media order. And no, I don't need to do that. There's mods here. They'll take care of it. Thank you for gifting a membership, Elf. Carrie lives near Canton and is pissed. Or Canton says, for someone who stood outside the court and supported Karen Reed, now more than ever, we need people to show up and support. Thank you, Carrie, for sending out the call to arms. Bill Frittenberg, live tweeting was allowed at the last trial. No, apparently it wasn't, because we just read the order. Aiden, Ted Daniel, Christina Rex, Sue O'Connell, Jess Machado did it all trial. Well, then they were in violation of that court order unless somebody moved to amend the court order, because we just read the one from April and it said no live updates, right? Bev's attitude just as all stressed and jumpy, says Gray Space. Right? We just absolutely read it. Oh, I wonder if the online updates is because people were posting the testimony of John's niece and nephew. They're kind of like reminding them. But again, as we just read, it was in the first order too. So that is that. Ah, thank you, Sindish. They tweeted on breaks, not the courtroom. Yeah, I think they tweeted on breaks. Okay. All right. Hang on. And is that what the order says? Just not from the courtroom or the courthouse? All right. Now you're going to make me go back and look at it again. That ain't it, kid. All right. Let's see if David to correct the record. That's not it. I think I just closed it. Let's go back and look again. See if it says from the courtroom or from the courthouse. Hold please while I quickly run through this myself. Except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2, no person is permitted to use any electronic device with communication capabilities to submit updates to social media during the proceedings. Does that mean during the proceedings and they're allowed to tweet on break? Let me just see if that's the exact same verbiage as was in the April 2024 order, which said, except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2, no person is permitted to use any electronic device with communication capabilities to submit updates to social media during the proceedings. So it means during the proceedings. So yes, they can still do it on breaks. They just can't do it live from inside the courtroom. Okay, good. I'm glad we could settle that. So thank you, Bill. You were correct. Live tweeting, but it wasn't exactly live when it was exactly happening. It was actually during breaks, just to correct the record. Because we correct the record in real time. We're not like Hank Brennan. We don't go back and correct the record some other time in the future. All right, let us see. Or go back to the Internal Affairs report that we were reading on Fanning. If you guys are interested in finishing that while we're waiting for some more things to drop, such as perhaps motions in lemonade or motions, decisions and orders on such things as the motion to dismiss. Kyle's back. He was 31 years with Dallas Fire Department. Last year had me so deep in our DHS functions that I was remote working 16 to 18-hour days. It was brutal, but checks were nice. Should have just dropped to 20, would be less. Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate your input. And also, thank you for your super chat again. But now we have to go back to Fanning's document. You guys want to finish doing that? Hold on. There it is. We've got it, Fanning's internal affairs report, which I've never seen before. I don't know if you guys did. Motions in limine will not upload until end of day or even tomorrow, says me, myself. No way. The deadline for filing them is today. Yeah, but a lot of them were already done. So I don't know how busy the clerk is. So, there's that. Subscribe. It's also free, says Cheryl V. Just lets you know when Melanie is on. Yeah. And make sure you have all notifications set, because sometimes I just go on a whim when something upsets me or angers me or something breaks and I need to tell you about it. And also make sure you have all notifications set on that little bell, and make sure you have notifications enabled on your phone from YouTube, or you won't get it. All right. We went over the first 15 paragraphs of this earlier, but if you're just joining, welcome. We are going over the internal affairs report of Lieutenant Fanning that was commenced after the first trial ended. So they didn't start investigating him until, I think it was July 3rd. The mistrial was declared on July 1st, as you know, and he was quickly cleared because this report was issued on July 15th of 2024, and yet they are still investigating Proctor. They are still in front of the trial board. There is going to be a third hearing. Don't know exactly what date that is, but we got all the way up to paragraph 15. Fanning only has one phone, apparently, only a personal phone. He's got 5 children, and he was on vacation, so he didn't see any of those messages, he says, from Tuper Proctor about looking for nudes. But if he did, he definitely would have disciplined him. And now we say that his personal phone, since he only had one, he says he didn't have a work-issued phone, it's all subject to Freedom of Information request. It's all discoverable. And if he had any communications regarding that Juror issue, won't that be interesting? Starting at paragraph 16. Lieutenant Fanning was not responsible for creating, reviewing, or approving Trooper Proctor's employee evaluation. Sergeant Buchanan created the document, and Detective Lieutenant Tully approved it. Remember, he got a good review. He got a great employee review. Apparently from Buchanan, and Tully approved it. So Fanning's like, I wasn't me. I didn't give him a good review. But even if I did, it's because I didn't see those text messages. But even if I did see those text messages, I might have done something about it, but not really, because I really wasn't his supervisor. Really, Buchanan was his supervisor, and Buchanan was the one who reported to me. So really, give me a break, because I have 5 kids and I was on vacation in the Outer Banks. And, yes, thank you for sending papers regarding Fanning and Crawford's video analysis company. We have been over those before. If I have any time today, maybe I'll go over it again, but I'm not sure. But we were on that the day that it broke. So thank you so much, Venus Blue, for your email. I appreciate you so much. But people send me zillions of emails. It was my fault for putting my email address up. And it's also in the show notes. But when you send me zillions of emails during the show, I can't break from my agenda to address your emails on camera. And also, I need to vet things before I share them with my audience, because this is a fact-based channel. I'm a lawyer. That's what we do. It's all got to be fact-based. Although I was able to confirm that those were actual corporate searches during that are actually in the Division of Corporations website. But we talked about that the other day when we talked about Fanning and Crawford having perhaps been doctoring videos since at least 2015 in the case of Paul Fahey, who is sitting in prison for the murder of Keith Boudreau, who is awaiting a retrial because the ADA used the word bully and called him a bully like 20 times maybe in the closing. The appellate court has found that was such prosecutorial misconduct that he should get a new trial, right? Remember? Remember? So there's that. Number 17, Lieutenant Fanning explained how he triaged information such as text messages, email, and correspondence based on importance. If things are not important, he would delete them. If they were important, he may mark them as unread just so he can go back to them later. Well, wasn't he organized? After Sergeant Buchanan liked one of Trooper Proctor's text messages, there were not any communications in the text thread until the next night. Text messages which followed Trooper Proctor's text message discussed Trooper Kotkowski's son's Babe Ruth baseball team. During his interview, Lieutenant Fanning stated that a homicide occurred in Quincy right about the same time as these text communications, which may have diverted his attention. Well, that's so interesting. Because you know what other homicide occurred in Quincy that you were involved in? Oh, the homicide of Keith Boudreau by Paul Fahey, who stomped on his head inside of the sports bar, punched him in the face, sent him 7 or 8 feet, and then stomped on his head and stomped him to death. And that's the case that we went over the other day, in which Trooper Fanning and Colleen Crawford are alleged to have perhaps doctored or proctored some surveillance video because they went to the bar and they seized the entire system. And defendant Paul Fahey in his civil suit alleges that those videos were doctored and proctored by Colleen Crawford and Trooper Fanning. The last show that we discussed that in is nicely timestamped in the show notes for you so you can quickly find it later. Don't go now, go later. 18, a copy of the most recent IA Pro Concise Member History Report for Lieutenant Fanning is attached as Exhibit 11. Meaning what? Meaning he never had any prior issues, so therefore you should let him off this time. Conclusion, the investigation was initiated on July 3rd after Major Keith Egan authored a to from requesting an inquiry be conducted concerning inappropriate text communications between department members, including Lieutenant Fanning. The text messages in question came to light during the testimony of Trooper Michael Proctor in the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Captain Bruce O'Rourke, the commanding officer of OPIA, assigned the case to me. 20. On August 17th, 2022, Trooper David DeChico sent an image of defense attorney David Yannetti to 5 other state police department members, including Trooper Proctor, Sergeant Yuri Buchanan, and Lieutenant Fanning. In response to the image sent by Trooper DeChico, Trooper Michael Proctor responded with the following text. Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. No nudes so far. And in reference to Attorney Yannetti, I hate that man. I truly hate him. On August 17th, 2022 at 9:57 p.m., Sergeant Buchanan liked Trooper Proctor's text. Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. Boy, they can't say that enough, can they? That's like the 5th time it's been quoted, at least in this 3-page determination of no issues. On June 10th, 2024, Trooper Proctor testified in Norfolk Superior Court that he sent these text messages to a group of coworkers, including his supervisors. Trooper Proctor testified neither Sergeant Buchanan nor Lieutenant Fanning dressed him down in a responsive text message regarding the inappropriate texts, with commentary about an ongoing investigation. This court case was broadcast nationally on Court TV and the Law and Order Crime Network. Trooper Proctor's testimony about his unprofessional text messages were broadcast by and commented upon by numerous media outlets. Oh yes, they were. Yeah, you did. You missed news enough, big enough to rewind. There's an order regarding media coverage that we went over. It's docket number 566. We went over that earlier in the stream. If you'd like to rewind, or you can just continue where we are. Basically, it's the same media order as last year. No big whoop. Pool cameras, no live tweeting from inside the courtroom, but you can tweet on breaks. And there is really nothing different. We were afraid when we saw it drop and it didn't get scanned in that she was going to ban cameras altogether, but no, she didn't. After reviewing Major Egan's to and from and information learned during the investigation, it was determined that the following specific allegations would be considered. A, whether Lieutenant Fanning failed to adequately supervise by not taking appropriate action after Trooper Proctor sent inappropriate texts to a group of subordinate members. Specifically, if he took any corrective action to address the unprofessionalism and inappropriateness of Trooper Proctor's texts. Yes. Zoe says, simple. They are all not important enough to read until someone asks him if he read their texts. Yes. 22. Lieutenant Fanning stated that he had no recollection of the unprofessional text communications on a text thread shared with Trooper Proctor. Lieutenant Fanning was on vacation all week and out of the state in North Carolina's Outer Banks the night that the text messages were sent. During the week ending August 20th of 2022, he was with his wife and 5 children and another department member who has 6 children. Okay, so what? He only has one phone and it's his personal phone. And if you think he's not checking it all the time, I got a bridge I want to sell you in Brooklyn. Like, really? He was with his wife and 5 children and another department member who has 6 children. So that excuses him. He saw nothing. Lieutenant Fanning did not know he was a part of a string of unprofessional text messages until Trooper Proctor testified to them in court on June 10th, 2024. Right. He didn't know until 2 years later. Really? Really? Were there any subsequent text messages in that thread? Because there were. There was a homicide in Quincy around the time the text messages were sent. Wow, they just keep repeating the same, regurgitating the same information and over and over again, as if that's going to justify not reprimanding Lieutenant Fanning at all. Lieutenant Fanning stated that he has a practice of deleting out unnecessary text messages and only responding to those who are important. Well, that's new. He's a deleter. He's a deleter too. I don't know. Are you supposed to delete work messages on your personal cell phone? Are you supposed to preserve them for a certain period of time? I don't know. Lieutenant Fanning serves as the executive officer of the Norfolk District Attorney's Office State Police Detective Unit. He directly supervises the troopers investigating sexual assaults, financial, and computer crimes. Yep. 2 of which were present in the Sandra Birchmore case, in which he was the lead investigator and quickly cleared his buddy Matthew Farwell because they both used to be officers in Stoughton. The troopers assigned to homicide investigations report to Sergeant Buchanan. Sergeant Buchanan reports directly to Detective Lieutenant Tully. Detective Fanning did not review and was not responsible for the employee evaluations of Trooper Proctor. How many times can they keep repeating the same sentences over and over and over and over again? He said if he deleted it, that would mean that he saw it. Polly Pocket Power Trip says, I don't delete anything. Oops, my bad. Recommendations. Okay, here it is. After a review of all information contained within this report, I respectfully request this case be closed with the following findings. A, regarding the allegation that Lieutenant John Fanning on August 17, 2022, failed to uphold the responsibilities of a supervisory member when he did not properly counsel. Notice that they say counsel a subordinate, not reprimand. Counsel a subordinate for sending unprofessional and inappropriate correspondence. There is insufficient evidence to either prove or disprove that this occurred. Not sustained. Are you shocked? XOXO, David. I don't know. TWOMEY. Toomey. Detective Lieutenant of the Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability. Well, isn't that name an oxymoron? Maybe. Maybe. Isn't the bigger issue here not that he sent these unprofessional and inappropriate text messages, not that he sent them, that he did not properly counsel a subordinate for sending these inappropriate text messages, but the fact that he was actually searching a defendant's phone for nudes? Wouldn't that be something that perhaps he should speak to his guys about? Or are we just, it's just locker room talk, no big whoop? Why would he delete text from his support? I have so many questions. But this is the guy, apparently, who played a game with telephone with somebody who told him that a juror who got dismissed, who was pro Karen Reed, was talking about the case in a bar and how she was a juror and how Turtle Boy and whatever, the Turtle Boy, he told a court officer, the court officer told the judge, and then the judge dismissed this juror without a hearing. And the jury tampering issue in this case may be the biggest and most successful issue on appeal if, God forbid, Karen is convicted, in my opinion. TT, not DT, would Fanning tell when he opened the text? I don't even think they got an extraction of his phone. I don't even think they cared that much to do the extra homework on that, TT, but it doesn't seem so. Does not seem so. They're just taking his word for it. Trust me, bro. Trust me. Next Proctor hearing date is Thursday, March 13th. Okay, we'll write that down. March 13th, Proctor hearing. You think they'll conclude on that day? I doubt it. They're going to push that out as far as they can. But interesting how they closed the investigation on Fanning within something like, started on the 3rd and they issued their report by the 15th. 12 days. Right? Cocoa Puff says he has one phone. He probably had 2 before the report was generated. Wording matters. Well done, Cocoa Puffs. Thank you for the 5. Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs. Rainy day. Wait a minute. How does Fanning know which text message threads to delete or to mark as unread if he doesn't read them first? There is so much about this, everything about this case that stinks. So much. Pam, hi, I'm just coming in, but I have to say I really hate when Brennan speaks Sandra's name, or maybe I just can't stomach him. Yeah, thank you for your super chat. I know. He called her a victim during one of his days that he was rambling on in court. Cat Q says, well, they have to take his word. If they actually investigate, they might find something they don't like. Isn't that so true? Isn't that so true? So true. To those of you who keep sending me the media order, please stop sending it to me because I already have it. We already reviewed it. Just rewind. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. But that also means that you're tuning in late. Kim Robinson, thank you. Who says we're all being gaslit. Little Cupcake says the obvious. Hank is full of Ipsy Dixit because I said so. It's our new favorite Latin terms. One of our new favorite Latin terms. Can we get Ipsy Dixit mugs and merch? Yeah, I would like that. I think I'll do that. Scott McGinnis says the Massachusetts Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, ain't doing nothing. I bought and paid for to hack. It's a good time to point out that my viewers' opinions are not necessarily my opinions. Sometimes we do share the same opinions, but I cannot be held responsible for anything that my viewers say. Okay. All right. So, we're going to wrap for now, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to be coming back because there could be some more droppings coming out today. And the thing is, when they drop, we're going to come right back on to cover them. That is why you are going to want to have the notification set. You're going to want to hit subscribe. You're going to want to have all notifications set so that we can come back whenever these things are scanned in, which probably is going to be right before 5 o'clock. Tomorrow, Andrea says, I feel like I'm being gaslit just looking at other YouTubers' clickbait titles. Yeah, sometimes. Tomorrow is the Turk. The fires out east were started by a family making s'mores, says News 12. That's crazy. Thank you, Scott, who is now known as the hidden camera in Bev's court. I'll have to go to News 12 and check it out. That's crazy. Smash the thumbs up, people. Thank you to the moderators. How many hours from now is 5 o'clock? Let's see. Right now, it's 1:30 on the East Coast. 3.5 hours from now. Thank you to the moderators who are keeping it classy, because this is always, as always, a very tough case to cover because of all of the people who like to come in and start trouble. Here's the merch. I went to Cancun with attorney Melanie Little. Get it while you can. It's 15% off in the shop right now. Make sure if you go in and buy something, the link is in the show notes. You click on the coupon at the top of the banner that says redeem now, 15% off. I think it's for today and tomorrow only. So if you need stuff, now's the time. I went to Cancun with attorney Melanie Little, and there's also stuff that says free can read on the front and that on the back, and stuff that says free can read, and then stay cool, stay classy on the back. There's what say you merch, and there's come for me in the comments merch. And again, come for me in the comments respectfully. Yep. Good. Mel went to Cancun with herself. I did. I'm the only one who can really say that, except for the other people that were there with me, and none of them were Alan Jackson. So there's that. That's why it's so funny. Yes, we went over the media order. Thank you so very much. We did. We went over it, Katie. Just rewind. It's the same media order as last time. Never fear. I'm here. And we were on it. So thank you. Please smash the like button on your way out. Do all the things that YouTube likes. Share the stream out. Comment respectfully. Love you all. With all of my heart, if I don't see you soon, I'm going to die. Clemenza's meatball scene from The Goodfellas. Thank you to the members, the channel members. Thank you for Strange Credulity, for me being your new favorite law team lawyer. I love that. I love that for us. I love that for us. Strange Credulity. I love it for us. I have that merch too. It's Strange Credulity. Yes, but would you go to Cancun with Alan Jackson? You know what? When I was so upset about the Twidiots, putting forth those rumors that Alan Jackson and I were having an affair, and I was so offended, and I was like, this is so rude and so mean. Well, they've done it to Karen since then, and other people too. But one of my friends was like, girl, just if I would own that. So it's kind of funny. I don't even know if he likes Dave Matthews. Like, the whole thing was crazy. All right. Until we meet again, which may be later on in a few hours, stay cool, stay kind, stay classy, and also stay calm. Okay, stay calm. You can do it. I know you can. The cameras have not been banned from the courtroom. Nothing different than from the last media order before the first trial. People can tweet, but not in the middle of the court. They have to go on break and do it. So there's that. So everyone's like, I'd go with Alan. There was a cyber attack on X, probably. Look for my sponsor, Aura. You can get a free 2-week trial with my link. I think it's in the show notes. If not, it's in the show notes before this. Aura protects you from such things as hacking, and they will notify you if you get hacked and if any of your information is found on the dark web. So that could be very important. Get your free 2-week trial. It will help prevent you from being a victim. It's a great product. I use it myself. All right. Stay cool. Stay kind. Stay classy. I'm going to see you real soon. I hope.